Friends, I have completed my calculations. I tasked myself with the project of understanding how many moments of your time I wanted to waste. And I came to the conclusion that the number of moments of your time I wanted to waste was 0. Hey, fuckers! How are all of you doing? I'm doing well enough. Woke up, wet hair, shower, what have you. Let's not fuck around. We're learning today. It's gonna be some spicy learning though, okay? Listen, I know a lot of you are young. I know a lot of you hate school with the teachers. You like the song from that one band. No more teachers. No more books. No more teachers. 30 the school's out for the summer. All right. As I said, no moments wasted. Let's give them a call. Hello, hello.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing wonderfully. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just got back from the train station, booked a train to Virginia. Doing pretty decent.
Fantastic. What the fuck are you going to Virginia for?
Visit my girlfriend.
Hell yeah. That's what I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be for some boring ass work shit. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Getting
Nah, I
that.
blew off work today.
All right, comrade. Hit me up. Introduce yourselves to the stream, please.
Hey, my name's Dylan Burns. I'm fine using my real name since I work in the industry. I'm a former Gravel teen. I was the state director for Gravel in the state of Maryland. I'm currently the foreign policy advisor for Michaela Wilkes, who's the primary opponent of everybody's favorite warmonger, Steny Hoyer. And well, that's generally what I do. The rest of it's just boring, like just inner politics stuff in Maryland.
So to clarify, whereas most of the people here are accommodated with politics in the YouTube drama sector, you actually do actual, real politics for human beings who are alive in the real world. Is that correct?
Correct. I mean, recently I tried to run for office, but I was prevented because they had some provisions in the city charter that stopped younger people from actually running. I
What
still put
pieces
out
of
a
shit?
good leftist. Yeah, I would use that language, but sure. Yeah, I'll go there.
Oh, true.
But I
We
was
have to act in a professional capacity here. You're right.
professional. Yeah, we're true professional. Vosh, I know that you would never cuss or use dirty language on stream. You're known for your respectability online. You're a businessman yourself. You're a
Thank you
businessman.
for recognizing me for my most distinguished characteristics, and likewise to you. For those of you who I don't know why you wouldn't know because it's in the fucking title, but my boy over here is a foreign policy advisor, which means that it's actually literally their fucking job. Their names. Do you mind if I say your Discord name, just because you're in the
Yeah,
service?
sure. Everybody knows me by Twappy.
Yeah, they're known as Twappy, not actually their real name, unfortunately. But it would be a good name if there's anyone named Twappy out there. I'm not shaming you, live your life. But anyhow, so people accuse me of not reading theory. I'm compensating, okay? I'm listening to theory today because we're gonna learn what the heck is going on out there. What is there even a place outside of America? Experts, undecided. We want to know. And the reason why this is so pressing, of course, is because, jokes aside, the Kurds are all about to die. With that in mind,
Not entirely, but that is what we should be treating with that urgency.
would you like to introduce the situation we're currently faced with, or do you want me to give my little soliloquy?
I can introduce a situation.
Hit it up.
So the Turkey does not exactly like the Kurdish people. They've been in a long conflict with a guerrilla group called the PKK, which was formerly led by a man called Asalan. He's still the head of the organization technically, and because of that, and their tie, the PKK's loose ties to the YPJ, I mean, the YPG and the YPJ, and their ties to one of the political parties, and their ties to the official military, the SDF. Therefore, they say the SDF is a branch of the PKK, and therefore they are terrorists as well. And so, with that very loose justification, they see northern Syria as a threat to their territory because they could see the Turks, they could see their land maybe being taken up by Kurdish militias in the future. Really, everybody surrounding the Kurds are threatened by this because they all have Kurds in their land. There's also the fact that they want to resettle a lot of the refugees that are currently in Turkey in Kurdish land. A lot of people are calling it a ethnic cleansing because it would completely change the demographics of the region and the culture of the region. As well, it's prevented by Article 49 of the Geneva Convention. You cannot actually resettle refugees under occupied territory. So, with all that in mind, this was all being prevented by US military presence. Obama was smart enough to know that the Kurds were a really good ally in fighting ISIS and religious extremism. And out of all the sides in the Syrian civil war, they're the one that was the most PR friendly because they're pretty good boys. I mean, they're not exactly going around beheading everybody and calling for religious like domination. They were more accepting. Not they're not perfect. There's problems with child soldiers and problems with some Kurdish nationalism, but compared to everyone else, they're pretty good. The problem is Trump is an idiot, like a really dumb boy. Like when it comes to dumb boys, he's the dumbest of the boys. And
Watch out with
without
that
really,
political divisiveness. If you're in a purple state, you might be
yeah,
compromising your
yeah,
electability.
I'm gonna state a controversial opinion. I do not think Trump is an intelligent man.
Oh shit!
I hopefully I won't get banned.
Oh,
Hopefully this is an
coming
okay
out hot.
area to say
Yeah.
this. Yeah, I'm going in really hard. But the thing is, this isn't the first time he threatened to withdraw, and the last time he was pushed back by everyone surrounding them because everybody saw like this could cause a genocide, this could cause ethnic cleansing, this would be backstabbing the Kurds for the millionth time. We really shouldn't do this, and so he was pushed back from doing it. But now that election season's coming around, and he hasn't really fulfilled any of his promises.
America first. Bring the troops home. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's trying to do it again. Now, this time it's with the justification of, well, the reason we're pulling out is because ISIS is 100% defeated. Not true. There's still a ton of ISIS sleeper cells, and the Kurds are probably one of the most effective forces to continue to put them down. And there's the fact that they hold a lot of ISIS prisoners. Unlike a lot of the other factions, they're not just executing every single prisoner they come in contact with. They actually have a working judicial system. Another reason why they're one of the better factions in the civil war. And so because of that, they have a huge amount of ISIS captives and their families, and it's so bad that the resources are getting strained. Right now, America hasn't had to directly deal with this, but all the nations that like the foreign nationals that came to fight here don't want to take those ISIS fighters back for obvious reasons. It just isn't a good thing to tell your voters, like, don't worry, I'm importing ISIS. Are we all cool now? Like, that's just not it's not good PR. So Turkey, apparently Trump was convinced by this. Turkey told Trump that, don't worry, if we invade northern Syria, we'll deal with all the ISIS people. That, but not everybody forgetting the fact that, Turkey bought ISIS's oil and helped actually supply their rise because they saw they wanted the region to be destabilized, and they wanted oil.
So to
So,
clarify, given the
mhm.
context here, would you consider Trump pro ISIS?
um in the same context he called Obama pro ISIS, most definitely.
Okay.
If anything, I would say what he's doing is the biggest gift to ISIS since the start of the Syrian civil war. It really is. Because what's going to happen is if you're getting invaded by a foreign invader, you're going to have less troops to station around the area. I just actually got a report recently, like a few hours ago, that they're taking troops away from oil fields on the border with the Syrian government and moving them north for obvious reasons because they're about to get invaded. They're going to be taking guards from, these areas that are like being protected away from there to go to the border. I hear that the French Legion and the SAS are now actually having to pick up. And because of this, ISIS are going to be able to break out of some of these camps. And if conflict gets to these areas where there are camps, it's going to give more opportunities for ISIS leaders to actually escape and start rebuilding. And then you add that with the destabilization that an invasion will cause and the migration that it will cause. That is just a breeding ground for extremism. So Trump's move here, honestly, is one of the biggest gifts to Islamic extremism in the last 5 years.
So I want to back up really quickly because there are a few pieces of context that I feel some members of my audience might be missing. Really quickly. For those of you who don't know, the Kurds are an ethnic group. The people who are mostly involved in this, the people who are currently at threat of being wiped out, they're an ethnic
Correct.
group in Turkey and adjacent regions, but mostly Turkey. And they've been kind of getting the shit end of the stick for a while. Like a really long time. I'm pretty sure they were promised a state of their own after World War One. It just never happened. Um, they've always had a cultural predilection towards more progressive, left-leaning political tendencies. I don't know, like it's not like a skull-shaped thing. They just culturally things sort of panned out that way, and
Mhm.
they've gotten kind of picked on for that. And after the destabilization following the Syrian conflict, there were members of the sort of Kurdish community in Turkey that had both a political excuse and the means to sort of move downward and capture this territory. And they formed an independent region called Rojava. Please settle it for me.
Uh, I've always said Rojava.
Rojava. And this Rojava is by and large probably the most progressive sort of invocation of political thought in the region. Like ever. It's actually pretty extraordinary. There are problems with it, undeniably. Some ethnic sort of preferential treatment, and there's some
Mhm.
criticism concerning the treatment of journalists in some case. But for the most part, like this is an extraordinarily progressive group. Feminist. It's written in the constitution: men and women treated equally. That's kind of a big deal in the Syrian region. With principles towards like. Anarchism and anti-capital. It's a very extraordinary project, and they've done very well in the region. But of course, being that they are currently the world's largest and most successful anti-capitalist project, or debatably, they're up there.
Mhm.
Um, they kind of had a target painted on their back. The United States of America worked with them because they had a shared enemy in ISIS. Turkey didn't like this very much because Turkey felt they could lose political clout, land to the Rojava project. So they've sort of had their eyes on that territory that was carved out by their militia forces, and now that the U.S. has pulled out, they have an excuse to sort of jump in. And it's very simplistic, but the Kurds, generally speaking, have been good comrades and good allies. There is an overlap between them and Antifa. They're shared ideological tendencies, and they tend to like wear that flag. And Antifa here tend to be supporters of them. So when Trump agreed to pull out, we're basically facing the Rojava militia facing off against Turkey, and Turkey is a state, a state backed by Russia at that. So that's a pretty one-sided conflict. Did you, Dylan? Did you read? I think this was really recently, but they're actually considering partnering with Assad to defend against Turkey.
I do want to address that, but first I want to say that thank you for addressing the ties between Antifa and the fighters on the ground, because I mean a lot of people have been confused by their tactic to throw cement milkshakes at Turkish tanks, but it's really complex and you really wouldn't understand it.
It clogs the
But
treads. Okay.
exactly, exactly. But this isn't the first time they've threatened to do this. Last time when Trump actually said he was going to pull out, they actually talked to the Syrian government because they got really hectic. They got scared because, facing genocide, you'll do whatever you need to do to save your people. And they've also done this with when a friend was invaded. They actually worked with the Syrian government and moved in some troops to secure some of the area. And they've been using guerrilla tactics in that region for a while. So this is just a case of this would be a more large scale operation if they did so. But from the reports I've been reading, this is a really interesting situation right now. Is the city of Manbij? I think I'm pronouncing it correctly, where there are fighters on the ground that have promised to fight and defend the city. The Turks, allied with the FSA, which is basically it's the Free Syrian Army, but at this point it's just a Turkish militia working with local terrorists. Said that no, we're actually going to take it, and then the Syrian army said, actually, no, we're going to take it. And on the other side, there's a river, and if you were to take out those bridges, then the whole city would kind of be trapped. So it's a really scary situation right there where if they don't work with the Syrian government and this operation does go through, then that could mean just a complete slaughter in the city of Manbij if these three forces collide, and it could mean direct confrontation between Assad's forces and Turkey's forces, which would also mean confrontation between Russia and Turkey, which is really scary since Turkey's a NATO ally.
How many people currently are in Rojava? Like who are allied, not just
You mean like civilian, or do you mean like how many troops did it have?
what's the death toll if Turkey gets what they want?
Like a prediction.
Yeah.
I mean, I would not. It's hard to say because I don't know how deep they would go. I do not think they would just plow through the entire thing. They're only going to take about, I think, 10 to 30 miles of land, in my opinion, which is still a lot. But they're not going to take the entire thing.
Are
I'm
they at
pretty
all
sure they're.
afraid of Assad?
Are they at all afraid of Assad? I think they're afraid of the political implications if they were to confront Assad directly, because that could mean confrontation with Russia, and with them being between Russia and Assad, that's not really the best place to be. A lot of people also forget that people really need to consider what Iran is going to be thinking of the situation. But I would say that when it comes to Assad, they do not want to get into a direct confrontation with Assad, and that's why they didn't completely take all of Afrin when they moved in. And so that does say to me that they do not want to have a direct military confrontation with Assad's forces out in the open.
Do you think that if since Iran is a concern, obviously being a neighbor to all of this, given that Iran is a concern, do you believe that? And I'm tying threads here. Trump's decision to pull out of the nuclear accords may have influenced or hampered our ability to meaningfully negotiate with Iran.
Um,
Like we have less control over that area of the world because we pulled out of that agreement.
I would say that the nuclear accords, it's of course was a horrible decision for him to pull out of it. It's just him being egotistical, and but a lot of Republicans have wanted that for a while. Actually, they don't talk about it a lot because it's not really good PR. It'd be like, hey, we should get closer to nuclear war just so we can scare our opponents. It's not really good PR, but they've wanted it. I would say that most of the confrontation with Iran doesn't really have to do with that, and more just has to do with our renewing of sanctions, our constant prodding at them, and shooting us, threatening to bomb them. The one time that really scared me again. People are like, I don't know if they forgot about this, but it was when Iran shot one of our drones that were most likely in their territory, and we were inches away from bombing and killing Iranians inside of Iranian land, which would have been
A good
a
meme, by which I
it would
mean
have been a
horrible.
fun time, it would have been a great time, a wonderful day. A war with Iran would be one of probably more catastrophic than a war with Iraq. I can actually guarantee you it
Oh,
would
oh God,
because
yes. With Iran,
the
absolutely. Well, I mean, Iraq. Like, I know, Iraq wasn't like a dirt pile when we invaded it or anything. But I'm pretty sure Iran's general level of infrastructure is much greater than Iraq's. Am I wrong at that?
well, the main reason why an invasion would be bad is number one, the region that we already invaded. By the way, you forgot to mention somebody's birthday.
Uh
How that was really rude of you. You
oh. Uh
forgot it's Afghanistan's birthday yesterday.
oh.
The Afghanistan war.
Hey,
It turned
18
18.
years.
Yeah. Woohoo. Come on. Let's celebrate. Let's give it a little birthday hat, give it some cake, and draft it. We should draft the war to itself. But when it comes to Iran, we haven't even completely secured the regions we have invaded, right? So if we then destabilize them, which will also probably destabilize the Yemeni conflict because of the supplies they give to the Houthis. I know they at least give them oil. I can't confirm anything
I'm
else
not
from that. I
familiar
do
with
know.
this conflict. Could I get an ELI 5?
So basically, Yemen has not had a good time for the past ever. There used to be two Yemens, like a southern Yemen and a northern Yemen. The southern Yemen was communist, Soviet Union fell. Then they got back together, and then everybody's like, "Oh, this isn't actually cool beans. Can we separate again?" And then there was a little conflict, and that didn't work. And the Houthis, which were in northern Syria, like all conflicts in the Middle East, it wasn't just like we feel extra Muslim today and we just really, really hate all like democracy and freedom, so we're gonna rebel. It was mostly economic concerns and like political freedoms that caused it, like most conflicts in the Middle East. And that of course went across tribal lines and religious lines, and the Houthis have been able to defend themselves. They originally allied with a previous government, but that has kind of gone to the wayside. Now it's mostly a Houthi rebellion supplied by the Iranians. But the what has shocked me the most about this conflict is how completely just useless Saudi Arabia is in a direct military conflict. I mean, they have just completely botched this. I mean, it's a lot of top-down just bureaucracy that has completely like stopped them from being able to take out the Houthis. And of course, I'm not really for the continuation of this war. I supported Bernie Sanders' bill passing, and I was very happy that it did. Of course, Trump vetoed it because America.
Right,
Uh,
right,
but
naturally.
but yeah, so most of this, like all conflicts in the Middle East, was started because of yeah. Oh, you got the live Syria map? Yeah, that's really useful resource. But when it comes it was started by like economic and political freedom conflict, and it just branched out into ethnic tensions.
Hmm. Would you okay? So everything that's going to happen is, I imagine, going to happen pretty quickly. Do you think even if we got like okay, Bernie Sanders is probably not going to win the primary. Unfortunately, just looking at polling projections, it's probably going to be Elizabeth
Hey,
Warren.
hey, hey, come on, man.
And
Let's
I know, no,
hey,
I
before
listen. I
Monta,
love
before
being
Monta, come
optimistic,
on.
but okay. Um, so, but even if we got a Bernie Sanderino, even if we got a president who, an ethical, on board, would help in the region, is there
Mhm.
like this is going to be done by the time 2021 rolls around, isn't it? Like, there's not much we can do, is there?
Um,
Not in an electoral sense.
you're absolutely wrong.
Okay,
Um,
please.
we just actually Mitch McConnell, what I forget how am I Amy I was about to say Amy Schumer, Nancy Pelosi,
Tomato, tomato.
Chuck I meant Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer and the big boy in the house, I forgot his name already. He's not really talked about as much anymore, but all of them, all the top boys and girls, and basically almost the entire Republican Party and Democratic Party, except for Ron Paul, are all against Trump on this. They're all condemning him. They're calling like an idiotic move. They are even calling it a backstab. They're even calling it a backstab, and that we're backstabbing our allies, and are telling him we should move back into the region, and they have actually threatened to put sanctions on Turkey in defiance of Trump. This is the Republican Party right now bucking
Wait,
Trump.
why would they care? Why do they care
Be-
about Rojava?
American Empire. I mean, the thing is, Rojava is an avenue for them to have military influence in the region for the Republicans, and some of the Democrats care about the genocide that, of course, would incur, and the same thing with American Empire.
But
So
there's
this is one of
no.
the
This is a criticism I see a lot from tankies that Rojava can't be trusted because they accepted aid from the United States. And I've always rebuked that claim, saying like, if you were a fledgling anarchist project, of course you're going to accept any military help that you can if it gives you the power and resources necessary to later assert your own independence. So like I feel like Rojava is also waiting for an opportunity to eschew its ties to America. I mean, America, the great Satan, we know
well,
how it is. I'm
I mean,
surprised America wouldn't want to, break up first.
this is this is one of the rare instances where people's like interests overlap, but for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
Where Rojava wants to defend itself because obviously it doesn't want to be genocided, and it wants to have this continued experiments and keep going. It wants to be one of the true democracies in the Middle East, and they want to defend what it has built on a theoretical level, right?
Hmm.
And the Americans, it changes for some people. It's because they have a genuine like they like probably what Rajab is doing. I'm pretty sure like Ilhan Omar might, even though she actually talked about how this if we do this, this is a gift to Iran, which is a weird statement from Ilhan. I
Yeah,
don't think
Iran doesn't serve to benefit that much from this, do they? Like, Iran doesn't want to see Turkish power increase in the region.
they don't like it's the Turks, but they also don't really want the Kurds to be doing too good either
Yeah, yeah.
because again, America's influence is right there, and they also have Kurds in their borders, so they would have the same concerns the Turks currently do. They just don't have the means to like directly invade because if they did, that would almost be like an instant war. But we're cool with Turkey doing it; like they're fine if they commit genocide. It's all cool.
Right.
Also, there's something that people haven't been talking about a lot. Before this agreement was done to pull out, um, there was an agreement basically with the Turkish government that 10 miles into SDF land, there would be like a safe zone. 5 miles, it was like small arms, and 10 miles, it was like heavy weaponry, right?
Yeah.
And this agreement was made to please them, and they would have joint American and Turkish patrols. Right after this agreement was done, and the Kurds were already like unsteady about it, is when Trump announced to pull out. So the Kurds demilitarized their border with Turkey, taking away any
I'm a
defenses they could have
fucking
had from a
snake.
Turkish invasion. And then Trump's like, screw it, we're pulling out now, allowing the Turks to basically they could just roll in for 10
I
miles,
hope they
just
expected
completely
that
take control of the
betrayal. Maybe
border.
they kept like maybe they didn't adhere 100% to the deal. That'd probably be in their benefit.
I mean, it was a situation where they had to weigh their options and think, what can we do here? Can we actually just defy American orders and keep our things there and have to maybe deal with Trump, who already has showed that he wants to pull out in the past? It was literally bending backwards for that idiot so they could keep their forces intact in their nation and well, not nation, but their forces intact. But then he just stabbed them in the back. I mean, it's just like the old Kurdish proverb: the only friends are our mountains."
So you that is a good proverb. So do you believe then that the that Rojava, possibly with the assistance of Assad, will be able to hold off Turkish aggression long enough for America to get its shit together and maybe send allies back?
From what I've been very surprised at the speed that Turkey has been able to militarize the border. They already have
Uh,
they have tanks there already. They have many artillery. They've already actually. I just got a report 10 minutes ago. I was just notified that they've actually because I saw that they bombed the border between northern Syria and Iraq yesterday, and I was confused by it because it wasn't actually in SDF controlled territory, but they actually took out the supply route. So this was something they had prepared for a while. The speed at which they were able to get troops there really baffled me. So it's really a race against the clock on whether they can make an agreement with Assad and how fast did the Americans pull out. And the last thing, which people haven't been considering, what the American legislator will do in response to Trump, because it looks this was an angle I didn't really consider that the Republican Party would actually buck Trump, definitely in a moment of weakness with his impeachment proceedings.
Holy shit. Turkey's military is huge.
Yeah, it's a big boy. Definitely when I consider like the last report I saw was like maybe the SDF was like 70,000 people like all together when it comes to like their military forces and not nearly as well supplied.
Turkey has the ninth largest army in the world. It has 300,000 soldiers. Holy
This
shit.
is why we put up with their abuses and want to keep them in NATO. They're in a very strategically good position between Russia, between the Middle East, and this is why we allow them to stay in NATO even after they, violate human rights abuses.
Yeah, more than 1% of their population is military personnel. God. Okay, well, so Turkey has obviously been gunning for this. It's even possible that Turkey and Trump spoke prior to Trump's decision to pull out, maybe
They
sometime in the
did. They
past.
did.
They
They
did?
did.
Okay.
I can actually confirm that there was a phone call and the decision was made after a personal phone call between Trump and Erdogan, which again shows me that Trump is just he's very impulsive. I mean, this isn't breaking news, but this was an impulsive decision that he
Wait,
didn't
I think I
really
read about
like.
that, and one of the White House officials was literally like, yeah, Trump sounded like a coward on the phone or something like that. Like he just kowtowed.
I didn't hear that report, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Listen, I like this. I like the sensationalist media. You know how it goes. You know my attention span. This is
Of course.
this is all very disheartening. Does Assad? So wait, let's briefly talk about Assad here. Okay.
Hmm.
Because Assad is listen. I get in arguments with lots of tankies. Okay. But Assad doesn't come up nearly as much, not nearly as much as like China or Russia or what have you.
Yeah.
So as I understand it, Assad controls the southern portion of Syria, and he's kind of a genocidal dictator, and he's backed by Russia, but he has
Hmm.
shared military interests with Rojava in the region because neither of them want to see Turkey push further south. Is that correct?
Their military interests are sometimes the same, sometimes contradictory. So, like Syria, Assad, of course, wants all of the territory that is right now Rojava to be Syrian, because like just like 10 years ago it was. So they want that, but they also know that if the Turks get a hold of that land, they're not seeing that for decades because they're gonna work with the now basically Turkish puppet FSA, which has already announced they're gonna participate with at least 14,000 troops in the invasion of Rojava. So this is one area where they will work together if forced. Rojava really doesn't want to. They would rather work with America because they know that at the end of the day, Assad wants all this land back.
Hmm.
Where America hasn't really declared if they're ever going to have like what the peace deal would ever be if there would even be one.
Yeah, there are only
Um,
wolves for Rojava to ally with at this point. It seems like. It doesn't really seem like
Really?
they have any opportunities to ally with people who like genuinely share their interests.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't news to anybody, but the Middle East is a very unstable region. A lot
Yeah,
of
well, really? Thank you
yeah.
for adding your that expert opinion to this. Oh God, I'm
You're
so glad
welcome.
I
I
live
won't
in
charge you for
America.
that either.
Thanks. I'm so glad I live in America, and this may be a horrible imperialist country, but at least it's all done abroad. Okay, I can play my video games in peace. I can't imagine living in these villages. Good
Uh,
lord.
I mean, I've already been told that there are evacuations happening on the border, small scale. There's also been protests on the border, which I didn't expect. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen if a tank confronts like a
I
large
don't
group
know
of
what
protesters.
that's gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, like, will they mow down the protesters? I don't know if their first step in an invasion would be literally just mowing down a group of protesters. I don't know if they're ready for that PR. But then again, it is Erdogan. A lot of this is based off the fact that Erdogan is actually failing pretty bad in Turkey. Like his like economic reforms are really really bad, and so it's one of those situations where like it's kind of like the Idi Amin situation where I need to like get everybody's mind off the fact that I really suck, so I need to invade
Well,
somewhere.
that's every fascist, right? Every fascist, like, inevitably their economic policies are delusional, so they compensate by getting, like, war fervor stirred up in the population.
Of course. This
That's
is
a
after, like, a
classic
really
move.
bad, like, small electoral defeat in the capital where I think the mayorship actually went to the rival party, which is a big embarrassment for him. He actually, like, tried to, contradict and say, "No, this didn't happen. I need a recount. This didn't happen." And so they did, and then it's like, "Oh, no, it happened again."
Erdogan pulling what we like to call a pro gamer move.
He's a
The
pro gamer.
okay, so Turkey is terrible. Iran is well, Iran's leadership isn't great, but you know,
Mhm.
um, with so I assume you have a low opinion of Assad, generally speaking, correct?
Of course, I have a low opinion of Assad. Anybody the problem I have a
I
big
argue
problem
with
with
so many tankies.
I've met a lot of people in the chat, don't worry. I the issue with a lot of the left is that if it's anti-America or if it just has us not being involved with something or if they just don't like us, therefore it is good.
That's it. That's literally their only consideration. They're like the left-leaning version of the anti-SJWs, whose only political criteria is that it triggers the libs. As long as it triggers America and there's a red flag somewhere, it's good, and they'll defend it uncritically till the end of time. So Assad, genocidal maniac. Listen, it's all good because he sticks his thumb out at America and doesn't listen to no America, and that's all it takes. That's the whole.
A a good example I like to use. I even had this with a friend of mine who like tried to get me work at like a at a think tank. Um I remember talking about Chinese colonialism, right? And its real existence in nations like Zimbabwe with the Mugabe regime. Um and the confrontation after that happened was like really emotional. It was like it was accusations of yellow fever and just this is just pro-American propaganda and that Africa actually loves China and that everything's fine. And what I eventually just realized is that since America has just been fumbling around the world for the past decade, just basically butchering the area, people have basically gotten to this mindset of anything else must be better, not realizing that if you look in the situation in Hong Kong, if you look at the abuse of workers by the Chinese companies in
Well, they'll
Zimbabwe,
defend
or
that too. Listen. That's the People's Republic of China. Okay, those Hong Kong workers are bourgeois, imperialist counter-revolutionaries who are trying to destroy the worker state after being infiltrated by CIA interests. Have you not read Our Communism? It's all there.
look, I mean, it's very evident. I mean, look, if you look at all the protesters, you can see that they're actually like flying little American flags. Therefore, if they just nuke Hong Kong, it's all cool. But the thing that gets me about Hong Kong is the tactics being used against the protesters should make anybody who sympathizes with the far left angry. I mean, the cops are dressing up as protesters, going into the protest, and then brandishing guns against protesters. Somebody
Well,
got shot in the chest.
ta-
So
tankies
the
are
tactics
all ACAB unless there's a red flag stitched on that uniform. You ask tankies how they feel about cops, they'll froth at the mouth. Then you show them a video from Hong Kong, they'll go, well, actually, you see, the protester was being extremely aggressive here. Now, this police officer had every right to enact like defensive measure, like 100% the bootlicking. The Blue Lives Matter comes out. It's phenomenal. It's the people's police.
the good example is always this guy. The person who got shot in the chest in Hong Kong.
Hmm.
He like swung like a like a pole or something at the cop, and so the cop after the cop ran at him, and then the cop shot him in the chest, and apparently that is enough force to respond with a bullet during a protest where everybody knows people are going to be carrying sticks around. Now, if you applied that same thing here, and an American shot an Antifa protester with a who had a bamboo pole or whatever, they would be going crazy.
Oh yeah,
And
we'd
the
lose
only
our shit
difference
over
to
it. Yeah.
them, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Tankies are just horrible. Tankies are bad about everything, but foreign policy is just entertaining to me. And
Yeah,
they're all
that
Tulsi stands as well. They're
I
all
like
Tulsi stands.
they tend to be like really really bad with theory and understanding leftism and basically everything. They're just generally terrible. But like listening to them talk about foreign struggles through their lens of like completely like impotent myopic anti-American imperialism with no other ideological framing as long as it's anti-American, like they're good with it. It actually makes me want to kill myself. It's incredible how many bad takes you can fit into one Reddit post.
The most aggravating one for me personally, and this comes from a personal experience. So when I was working on the Mike Gravel campaign,
Mhm.
I knew some people who worked with the Sudanese revolution in the state of Maryland. And so I brought them on and we actually had a podcast and a long form interview and we talked about people being raped, brutally killed, bodies dumped in rivers. And I remember at one point before the talk, I asked them about whether we could ask them questions that has to do with Saudi Arabia and other things. And they told me that their families are scared about that and they would like to not be asked that question because they don't know what kind of consequences they could get or if they could be killed. That to me, interviewing somebody is a very emotional experience because I know these people personally and that hurt me on
Yeah.
like a deep level. I've never seen a single tankie ever even talk about the Sudanese revolution, even though it had a general strike. The Sudanese revolution, one of the main reasons it was successful is because of a general strike.
Wait, what does a general strike have to do with communism? Communism is when an elite group of autocrats seize control of the government and basically replicate the authoritarian superstructures they took control of. What does workers' power have to do with a left leaning movement?
Exactly.
Wait, okay, wait. Memes aside, um, I'm seeing right here on the map. Apparently, an Israeli official also spoke ill of Trump's decision to pull out because it strengthens Erdogan. I didn't know it was possible for Republicans to do anything Israel didn't like. Like if this go so like literally nobody is happy with this. Like
Yeah,
no
no,
human.
this the only person that was happy with this is Trump himself and Erdogan. Every single other person that is close to Trump hates this except for Rand Paul. And of course, Rand Paul has always been like this when it comes to foreign
It's
policy.
extraordinary to me. It really is because I used to think like a little while ago, maybe like early left, like when I was early leftist, but like before Trump really like hit his stride, I used to think like, yes, all governments are run by humans, sure, but the American empire has always been expertly capable of leveraging its power to ensure the maximum possible benefit from like this isn't just like evil, which it is. It's also incompetent. Like nobody benefits from this. We don't even benefit from Turkish strength in the region. Like there's no nothing.
There's no benefit. Nobody gets benefit from this except for the Turks. No one knows. It's literally just Trump either being a coward or just trying to help his poll numbers by pulling out. But I mean, I haven't seen any like jump in the polls because he decided to pull out of Syria. All I've seen is a bunch of articles saying that hey, Trump may have just facilitated a genocide.
Nice meme. What if hey, here's the big meme, okay? What if Assad and Rojava team up, all right? And Iran, and they all take down Turkey. All right? You want to put bets on it? 1 to 1,000?
Um, I would say that it's more likely that Jeb Bush wins this election.
Are you saying you don't want Jeb Bush to win the election?
Look, okay, I was part of the Jeb Bush guerrillas as much as the next like lefty, but I don't think I just think his leadership has gone off the wall.
Jeb. All right. Guys, just so you know, like the map that I've been looking in, I've been like super zoomed in. The yellow and red portions, along with the little green bits here, constitute like the Syrian region. This whole fucking block right here is Turkey. Like Turkey dwarfs the Syrian region. And this is
Mm.
Iraq, and this over here is something. I think that's
Oh,
still Iraq.
have you talked about like the situation with Kurdistan and Iraq
Oh,
anyway?
it's
Have you
Iraq.
talked about that at all?
No, in fact, I'm completely ignorant of the situation. Hit
Okay,
me
I
up.
would love to tell you about this. So of course the Syrian Kurds and the Iraqi Kurds are pretty allied closely.
Oh,
Like
really
the,
quickly, a
they
good question from Chad. I'm really sorry. Do you think do you think there's any possibility of the Iraqi Kurds joining with Rojava to bolster their population and strength?
they've been working together, but they would not do that if they want to stay allies with America, because of course America has a pretty big project in Iraq.
Yeah.
Like a very like long project with Iraq. It's good to work with the military layout at the moment, but I can actually get into this. What happened was that, of course, when ISIS was taken over, they also weren't just in Syria, even though that's what we talk about. A lot of us forget they were also in Iraq. And they kind of went buck wild over there too. And the Kurds over there as well pushed them back, even though the Kurds have been going under. We have backstabbed the Kurds before in Iraq when it came to Saddam Hussein, when we gave them support and then sacrificed them to Saddam, and then, the gassing.
And then we
But
came in and dealt with Saddam, but didn't really do anything about the Kurds. Yeah.
exactly. So what happened was that they successfully pushed ISIS back over there. And then in 2017, they were like, okay, so we're a bunch of Kurds. We got Kurdish land. Let's have a referendum on Kurdistan. And then they had a vote, and the Kurdistan vote was like, okay, we want a state. And Iraq was like, nope. And then marched their troops into Kurdish land and took oil fields. And they didn't take all of it, but well, I mean, it's also Iraqi land. I mean, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't take all of it, but they took a lot of oil fields. And so that was basically a like throwing off of the idea that they can declare a state.
Gotcha. So, but you don't think there's a likelihood of like Power Rangers or like the Dragon Ball Z fusion where you do the dance and then you touch fingers and turn into like one Kurdistan that single handed? Probably not.
I mean, the odds of that happening, it would mean that Iran, Turkey, Iraq, Syria, and America all were like, cool, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll just let that happen. I mean, all we have all of our interests are saying no, but nah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, America can do it at once, even if nobody likes it. But like, we're America, so
I
it's
mean,
okay.
yeah, but we're
We're
not going
America.
to, because of again our project in Iraq. We would probably there's a chance we could do it in Syria, but of course we're doing the SDF, Syrian Democratic Forces, for a reason. It's a lot of relabeling and trying to get other people who are not Kurds recognized by Rojava, which is working, which is slowly evolving just from Kurdish nationalism, which I like, which I like.
Does Saudi Arabia have any like major stakes in what happens here?
Um, Yes. Their major stake is always going to be that they want to combat Iran. And the same way they're combating Iran in Yemen, they want to combat Iran here. And Iran, of course, has an alliance, well, not a direct alliance, but they work pretty closely with Syria. Therefore, if the Assad regime is gone, that's good for them, because the Assad regime works with the same people that are
Okay, all
fighting
right.
the.
So Turkey and Saudi Arabia get something out of this. Trump bid for poll numbers, and it doesn't look like it's working. And literally every other human on the planet dislikes it. Okay, that's cool. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you, Saudi Arabia. Very cool. I can't wait for your kingdom to fall. What an
Almost
incompetent
there.
dictatorial state, honestly.
I mean, if anything, I mean, hey, they got on the right side. I mean, of their thing. I mean, their economy's like pretty reliant on oil right now, but they're trying to evolve away from it. I mean, they're horrible and they're disgusting, and everything they're doing is grotesque. But hey, they picked the right side, right?
If America stopped like supporting Saudi Arabia within a few decades, they would probably see like insurrection, right? I feel like a lot of their stability is predicated on them being friends with us.
Um, a lot of their regional power is predicated on being friends with us, right? Because you got to think that the Middle East, a lot of it's American dominated, but there's two blocks. There's basically the Iranian bloc and there's the Saudi bloc. The Saudi bloc's also allied with the Israeli bloc.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
when we look at it through that lens, we can understand basically every single conflict in the Middle East more deeply. Because then the Houthi conflict makes a lot more sense. Then the Syrian conflict makes a ton more sense. Because if Assad was taken out, one of the major blocks of the Iranian bloc, the only like last vestige they would have would be Yemen. So it was really going to be a huge power shift if Assad was actually gotten rid of. But without American support, I would depend on when it happened and exactly what you mean. Like, do we just pull out a military? No, I think they've been able to build a certain military. Do we stop selling them guns? Well, I think they would transfer over to probably other nations like China or Russia for military arms.
Are
But we could
Turkey
definitely.
are Turkey and Saudi Arabia implicitly allies?
No, I can't really say. I haven't actually looked at their relations too much, but I can't say that I haven't seen too many conflicts. But in any way that Saudi Arabia, America's in conflict with Turkey or Israel's in conflict with Turkey, it's probably the same for Saudi Arabia.
Gotcha. Okay. Whew. All right. Where do you think we're going to be in 6 months, realistically
Um,
speaking?
Realistically speaking, you see that like really long road between Iraq and that goes through like you see the one your
Yeah,
mouse
yeah.
is
It
just
runs
on it.
east west, and it runs to the Turkish army segment
Yeah.
of
I
northern
would say
Syria.
basically all of that is going to be, controlled by the FSA, which is allied with Turkey, most likely, unless the legislator acts. The
Is the
legislature
FSA Turkey's army, or is that
the FSA stands for Free Syrian Army, and they've been allying more Turkey as of late. You see all that
Oh,
blue
great.
over there?
The purple or the green region, or the
The green
blue or the green
region
region?
is a mix because if you see how they're shaded differently, that's actually talking about like who's allied with Turkey
Uh huh.
and which ones are actually not allied with Turkey. And then it like eventually Turkey just dipped, and now it's just like how extreme are you? And that's just what all the green is at this point. But the blue is definitely allies with Turkey, and they're the FSA.
Is the
They've
green a
declared that
religious faction?
Hayat al Sham is definitely they're all anything that says jihadist at the end, they're religious. So all
Yeah.
of them are religious.
Godspeed, you guys. Oh God. All right. Well, hopefully their progress is small. I mean, if if it looks like things get hopeless, and there's a very real possibility things turn that way for Java, is there? Do you think they would be able to like flee towards the towards Iraqi Kurdistan or anything, or like move into a or does everyone here just get conquered?
Well, we gotta think that all of this region is really destable now, and anybody fleeing would then just be considered a migrant, and they'd probably be treated as the rest of the migrants, but maybe with a little bit more skepticism because a lot of them would be Kurdish, and a lot of them don't trust the Kurds. I assume some would flee to
Yeah,
Iraqi Kurdistan. Some would actually probably flee to Assad because at least they've had showed some semblance of wanting to work with them, and a lot of them would just stay and fight. But I mean, a lot of this would also depend on Turkey's resettlement of refugees, which is again is against the Geneva Convention, into occupied land in Syria.
you're right. If they moved into any other region, they'd be put into camps. Um, damn.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, it would depend. I mean, they would be put into like refugee camps, but I mean, I other than that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're still pretty spooky. I really hope. I listen. I just hope we don't get like more tanky fuel. Ah, look, the anarchist project has failed due to counter-revolutionary imperialist aggression from other nations. Look how the glorious statist Assad is able to maintain control. Ah.
I'm gonna be honest. Right now, what a bunch of neets online think is my one of my least concerns right now. I mean, I remember when this first happened. I was up till like 2, 3 a.m. calling everybody, trying to figure out what was going on the ground, and I'm very emotional, personally emotionally invested in this conflict. So this is like it means a lot to a lot of people, and I mean, this project
Yeah.
has
This is the closest we've ever seen, not only to like genuine like liberal in the good way, like progressive, like egalitarianism, like rights being disseminated in this region, but it's also like the strongest currently existing anarchist project, the best one we've seen in decades. To see it squashed would be incredibly demoralizing.
what's also very interesting is that this is not just like because the PKK were originally just Marxist Leninists, and that's why I'm like a lot of the ties that they try to like push are like really loose because these people are following a lot more like democratic confederalism pushed by Ocalan, right?
Hmm.
So they're using modern theory. This isn't just like this isn't like Farca or like some other like guerrilla movement trying to like trying to rehash a bunch of old ideas.
Bringing out
It's like a
Lenin's
lot.
book, yeah.
Exactly. This is like modern socialism in action, right?
And it
And it's been
works.
and it worked. Not only did it worked worked against one of the most powerful Islamic terrorist groups in the world who was being supplied by Turkey.
Yeah, this was literally like a political party in alliance with a military faction seizing land, like spreading democracy and egalitarianism and human rights while battling off a death cult and dealing with imperialist aggression from their much stronger neighbors. And they've done it, at least up until now, because they had
Yeah.
America's support.
I mean Trump's complete. I mean, the thing is, I don't find myself agreeing with the Cheneys that often.
Yeah,
But I saw Liz Cheney pissed at Trump,
I
saying that
saw
we
that.
backstabbed the
Yeah.
Kurds. I saw Hillary Clinton pissed at Trump because we backstabbed the Kurds. Mitch McConnell, everybody was pissed at Trump. This is literally just Trump being a doofus, and it's going to cause a genocide.
Hmm.
Again, people really, when we're talking about candidates, we're talking about Warren, Bernie, Tulsi, and all this other stuff. Mike Gravel, Gravel Gang, Gravelista actually. But when we talk about all this, a lot of people tend to forget how important our foreign policy is. The commander in chief is again and will always be the most impactful, powerful thing our president has because we control an empire overseas, and the American public generally isn't extremely well educated on our empire overseas. But everybody we're bombing, everybody we're sending troops to, everybody our military effects is very aware of our
Yeah,
military presence
America can't point.
overseas.
Most Americans can't point like to the countries on a map that we're currently bombing. They have no idea. At least, listen. At least with the British Empire, I have a feeling the average British citizen took some measure of pride in their country's brutalization of the world. Americans don't even know. We don't even know what's going on. It just happens.
Well, a lot of it has to do that if you're working 2 to 3 jobs just to get by, feeding 2 kids, and do you want to spend the maybe 4 to 5 hours you have of free time dealing with
Yeah,
international political
it's
relations?
tactical. It's tactical ignorance. Yeah, the more you keep the dumb proles in line with busy work, the harder it is for them to meaningfully understand the systems that are put in for them.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
think it's our duty as people with platforms like yourself, and I'm trying to build with the internationalist vision I have going forward, is that it is our job to help inform people who are using their free time to listen to us.
Okay, I just want to iterate, guys. Like how like why this is like meaningful. Okay, because like a lot of you already know, but like we don't get like successful leftist projects very often, especially since listen, I'm not the type of person who's just satisfied with like a country declaring itself communist and then abusing its workers. Like that doesn't get my lefty heart pumping. You know, I don't look at China and think like yes, communism will prevail. But like genuinely successful leftist projects, for those of you who don't know, I mean like the Syrian region, not exactly known for progressivism, not exactly known for like, you know, modern socialist theory, I have to say, generally speaking. Yeah, kind of a shitty region most of the time. And the Kurds, in such a short order with the constitution they put forward. I don't have it in front of me right now. I know some of its provisions. The libertarian socialism they prescribe, gender equality, them no ethnic preferentialism, one group over another. Now there are allegations that there is some Kurdish preference within Rojava. I'm not saying they're perfect or
Mm.
anything, but like by the standards of the region, this is like beyond extraordinary. It's like it's like wandering through a junk heap and finding like a magnolia flower blooming between like a pile of rotten tomato peels and a tire that's been slashed. It's extraordinary. And I don't know what's going to happen to Rojava. Probably something bad, just because I'm familiar with history, you know, the region and in general of leftist movements. But I think that it really speaks to the potential internal stability of systems like this, even in regions like that, which do not have a historical cultural predilection towards a strong civil society in the same way that most democratized industrialized nations do. You know, most people here, you know, we talk about Americans not having free time to understand the world abroad. Many of these people live in villages. Many of the women here were like ruthlessly oppressed until they were, you know, until the Kurds sort of seized control of the region. The fact that this was able to work at all is a incredible testament to the strength of the values that we are capable of putting forth. And it's extraordinary. There have been other projects in this region, other small little confederalist groups, other militias that weren't based on these values, that were more dictatorial, that forced conscription, that were highly patriarchal, and they've flopped. They've died. And this one didn't. Not on its own, at least, not without being invaded by Turkey. And that's really, really cool. And the longer we see this thing through, I think the stronger arguments we'll have in the future as to the potential benefits of this system of living. Sorry, that's my soliloquy.
No problem. I know that we've covered this. If you have any more questions, I'm happy to answer it. I'm also like we talked like we were going to cover a lot more with foreign policy. Is there any other region in the world you'd like to talk about? Any other conflicts?
I think that for just for the sake of keeping things in reasonable blocks, we should probably cut it here. Would you be willing to come on sometime in the near future and talk about Hong Kong with me?
Of course, I'd love to talk about Hong Kong. I've been covering that, blasting that for a while now.
Are there any other actually really quickly, just so I know, because this is probably my ignorance at work here. So the main conflicts that I'm currently familiar with, or the world that we're like paying attention to, from like a lefty perspective, are this one in Syria and the Hong Kong protests. Not that that's a lefty thing, but you know, like democracy, yeehaw, woo. Are there any other major uh, like well, there's the Kashmir region. I know. Are there any other like major hotspots that we should be focusing on right now? That I should pay more attention to. That I should read up on.
I would say that like I said, a lot of people don't really remember what went on in Sudan. It was an amazing show of force by the people. I would say covering that. I did a podcast on it. I'd share. I'll send it to you later if you want it.
Please do.
There's a lot of amazing stuff going on in Africa right now. I believe there's. I hope I'm getting the country right. That'd be really bad if I got the wrong country.
Hey,
There's
listen,
like
I mess up all the time on stream. It's all good.
yeah, that's what it's my job. And if I get get the country right, boom,
It's
it looks
my
like my work.
job too. But yeah, I know. Yeah.
I believe Nigeria is going through a lot of protests right now, actually, and Iraq actually right now is going through a lot of anti-government protests, which are amazing because they're just mowing down protesters, but they're not stopping. Right now, there's just been a huge resurgence of resistance. It's not to the extent of the Arab Spring, but it's really it feels really good. It just feels really good to see this happening over the world.
Yeah, that's gonna feel real bad when the
Oh, one last
when
one.
the
What's
Turks
going on
start
in Libya
moving
right now?
south. Yeah.
What's going on in Libya right now,
Hmm.
people completely forgot. Like right now, there's like a huge like conflict between a UN-backed government and a warlord, literally trying to roll that over,
Wait,
which is pretty interesting.
where the fuck is Libya? Libya.
It's the thing the Clintons and Obama butchered. It's right. You're right. Next to Algeria, next to Egypt,
Next to Egypt?
next to Egypt.
Libya. What? Wait, that's bigger than I thought it would be. Hello.
Yep.
Listen, I'm
Libya.
America. I'm American, okay? When I was talking about Americans, I was talking about myself. So don't. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh hey, that's Benghazi. I know that from all the memes.
Yeah. Good times.
This is where
Wonderful
Hillary
time.
Clinton died.
This is where Hillary Clinton gave the Contras all the guns, right?
Wait a second. This map is sick. This can go from a global map to zooming in on streets. I thought this was just like a
Yeah.
little. This is
When
a
I was
really
in
cool
high
map.
school, these maps helped give me an interest in foreign policy because I would actually follow the Syrian conflict day by day. That's one of the reasons why I have such a personal attachment to Rojava because I kind of grew up with them in foreign policy because I would watch their troop movements, I would watch their successes against ISIS, and I would cheer with them.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 18.
Hell yeah. Folks,
Ye-
never let age hold you back, okay? I'm getting zoomed on this conversation. Um, yeah, chat's molding now because now they feel like they're under accomplishing. Um, 1 second. Somebody really wanted to know before you dip. Someone was curious in your opinion on the Syrian Democratic Forces.
I got to do that, but then can I like shout out my stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're not leaving without
Okay.
that.
Awesome. So the SDF really, I'm happy with that development. I'm happy that the SDF is a thing because it gave a better like ability for America to not only support the fight against ISIS, but it allows like Rojava not to just be like, hey, we're just Kurdistan, and oh, there's the Syrians here, and there's other groups here, and oh yeah, we're gonna ignore that. No, it allowed them to be included into the fight against ISIS and allowed them representation in the armed forces. So there was a good, it was a good tactic for militarily, and it was a good tactic to fight like Kurdish nationalists.
Nice. All right. Well, a lot of good news, a lot of bad news, a lot of mixed news. Glad I live in a stable country. Do you? Last question before you dip. Do you have any plans of ever physically visiting or contributing, or would you rather not die?
I actually heavily considered it when I was younger, but I mean, then again, I was just a little teen boy, so I couldn't really do anything. But if it continues to be a safe region, well, it continues to be if it becomes a safe region and it just does well, um, I would love to go there one day and just one day. I mean, in my dream scenario, I would love to one day be the ambassador to Rojava. That's the dream. That is the dream.
That would be extraordinary. But I hope it works.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
listen, when you're ambassador for Java, you got to shout me out, okay? During one of your addresses, during one of your meetings, all right? You got to meet with Assad and shake
Mm-hmm.
his hand and say, "Subscribe to Vosh." Okay? Can you do that
You're
for me?
gonna. Yeah, I think I'm gonna fumble, get nervous, and then accidentally like tell him to kill you, and then you're gonna have to deal with it.
Put a hit on Vosh. Ah, shit. All right, never mind. Don't mention me. Don't put my fucking name in these people's mouths. Please plug.
Okay, so my main thing I'm pushing personally, and then I'm gonna say the stuff I'm pushing. Like, number one, I want all of you, since like are the one thing you can do to actually help Java right now. There's actually a thing you can do. For some reason, the government cares. So actually, like, message your congressman, message your senators, like, just send them an email on their website, give their office a call, say how like you want them to actually stick up for them. You want Trump to not like cause a genocide, and like defend this region. Like, these people actually seem interested in this. So if they actually see like public support, that will really actually help push them. Because then not only will they see it as a good strategic move for America's empire for a lot of these more cynical politicians, but they'll also see it as a good move for their polling. So I would ask you all to please message your representatives. Please do it. I know you're a bunch of neats and you want to play your Kiras or whatever, but please, it doesn't take that long. Second thing, I am the foreign policy advisor for Michaela Wilkes. So we just hit $80,000 as a campaign, which is cool because that's the most anybody's ever raised against Steny Hoyer, who's most likely, if he wins again, going to be the next Speaker of the House. This is a guy who takes hundreds of thousands of dollars from the health insurance industry. This is a guy who actually was one of the main perpetuators of this Yemeni civil war until recently. And this is a guy who's constantly kneecapped progressive movements. This guy's been in there for 40 years, and we are the most successful campaign to ever run against him. And so we really need, more than anything, we need money. A lot of you don't live in Maryland and you can't help us out. So please go to our website. Please donate to Michaela Wilkes. $5, $10, whatever you can give. And the last thing for me personally, to help me out, to help your boy out, I need people following me on Twitter. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually helps you on a local level, because once you have like $5,000, 5,000 like followers on Twitter on a local level, like all the boomers look at you like, oh my God, this guy, whoa, he can be the next governor, because like they just don't understand how social media works. So it actually really helps me. So if you could follow my Twitter, which is now in chat, that would really, really help me like on a genuine
Explanation
level.
point Twappy if you want to get Dylan's Twitter at any point in time. Please do help. How cool would it be if we were like in any way, shape, or form, even in the slightest possible way, associated with a successful bid for Congress? That would be pretty darn cool. Um,
That'd be pretty cool. Also, if you have a second, I'd love to talk about some local work I'm doing with worker co-ops.
yeah, no, please, absolutely.
So, I since I wasn't able to run this time, but I'm getting a lot of endorsements to run next time. It looks really cool. In 2 years, I'm going to run for city council, be the youngest city councilman in history. My platform is a worker co-op based platform. Oh, trans rights. Okay. Worker co-op based platform. It's going to talk a lot about rent control. Yes, boy. I want it on a national level, but we got to do local level first. And it's
Uh,
going to talk a lot about like worker safety and respect. And I want to unionize the entire city workforce and unionize the workers in our city. So it's a very leftist platform. So again, follow me on Twitter. You can follow my campaigns. You can follow my work. I need that support. It'd be really helpful.
Please do, comrades. And next time you come on, we can talk about rent control because I'm not actually a huge fan of it. I'm more of a government housing type of man myself. That's the hat and coat I put on before I walk out the door. But I'd rather
I
see
gotta,
it than
I
not.
gotta, I got like a Pete Buttigieg esque mayor, so I gotta take what I can get, man.
No, I gotcha. Hey, listen, Godspeed. Thank you so much for lending to us your expertise. I really do appreciate it. I look forward to being able to speak with you on Hong Kong and other matters.
No problem. Just schedule with me. We'll have a great time. See you later.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Damn. What he literally said trans rights, guys. What an extraordinarily ambitious zoomer. Damn. You didn't hear it? Well, he said trans rights. What do you want? He said trans rights. Eager. I didn't even ask him. He just threw it out there. Also, my man, I have to say, listen really quickly. Maybe phrenology is correct because this is from his Twitter and he has the chattest jawline I have ever seen in my life. Holy shit.
Going.
know it's late.
Look at his. When he tilts his head up slightly, his head is literally a rectangle. Holy shit. What a fucking Chad. Oh, and that hair? Damn. There's no way. There's no fucking way. He's got like the genes, you know? Holy shit. He's like, yeah, I'm 18 years old. Here I am, just an expert on foreign policy. Here's my expert opinion on the Syrian civil war. Got all this, got this, running for office. I was a gravel teen, you know. Now I'm working with this campaign. We're going to defeat the future Speaker of the House. And also, my jawline is wider than my skull. Oh, man. What a cool dude. I hope I get to talk to him again in the future. I know I will. He's busy, and I can't blame him. Anyway, to conclude all of this, I just want to say that my politics are usually really like America-centric. That's not because I think that we're like better or anything. It's because I recognize the limitations of my knowledge. I know what I can affect. I know who will listen to me. I do my streams in English. My videos are in English. It's going to be English-speaking people who can watch them for the most part. So I know kind of where my range of effect is. And I try to stick to that because I feel most confident there. I'm also more familiar with American politics and da-di-da-di-da. But there is like the world really is like so much bigger than us. The American population altogether is like less than 5% the entire population of the world. There's so much going on out there. Such an incredible amount of turmoil and war and suffering and also really interesting shit. And that too, Iris McPearl. Anyway, it's just there's a lot going on, and even though we, as presumably English-speaking Americans, I know some of you are Europeans, but most of my audience is American, can't do as much to influence the rest of the world as we can to influence here, it's still something we should strive for. That's all. This is Iraq right now? Wait, what? I'm going to go over donos in just a second. What the fuck is going on? Okay. All right. This is going on in Iraq right now? What the fuck? Holy shit. Was that a fucking rocket? That couldn't have been a firework. I can't imagine the surreality of it, you know? When I think of like a phone, like a cell phone, I think of like safety and security in the modern world, you know? And then like I can't just imagine like just hit video revolution, you know, hey, and then like on portrait mode like a fucking rocket zooms by behind my head. Holy shit. Yeah, Twappy, Jesus Christ. Fuck. God damn. Oh, God, I hope I die in my sleep. Fuck me, we fucked up so fucking hard in America. Holy shit. This is incredible. How the fuck do you spend 15, I don't know, how many years did we spend in Iraq? Like a million? Thousands? I have no idea. How do we spend so much fucking time in Iraq and then we leave it as bad as it was? Worse than it was when we came in there. I'm not saying Saddam Hussein wasn't an enormous piece of shit. He was, but like Iraq was more stable. Still in Iraq? Yeah, we're like a little in Iraq, but we stopped like with our major, we stopped like propping up the war government, yeah. Jesus Christ, that's so many people. What are those people up to? They're protesting because Iraq is a fucking shithole. Do you think that noise is the sound of all of them cheering, just like filtered through the wind from half a mile away? How can you make that argument for Hussein and not make the same one for Assad? Wait, what do you mean? Assad is probably preferable to like a completely lawless Syria, but he's still a dictatorial, genocidal piece of shit. What do you mean? I've never said America should invade Syria to kill Assad, but I would be fine with Assad killing himself. Just as I would have been fine with Hussein killing himself, you know? Just like a quiet, just like a little, just the classic, wait, you know that, wait, what's that boomer comic? Really quickly, this is what we need to do, okay? This is the boomer comic. I'm sure you guys have seen it. It's like the woman, the wife, okay? The wife is like, she's like out of the shower, and she's, her hair is dripping into the sink, and she's reaching behind her. She's reaching behind her to get the hair dryer from the wall, and her husband is holding out a revolver to her. So she'll, like, you know, that's what we need to do. Assad and Saddam Hussein. Well, Saddam Hussein's dead, but Assad now. Assad, fucking trying to. Where's my hair dryer? Except he says it in Arabic. I hate my wife. Yeah. Oh God. This is on Rojava from Al Jazeera. I think I may have watched that video, Lil Matthias. Anyway. Let's fucking focus. God damn it. It's really crazy though. Like how fucking wild the rest of the world is. I'm really understating it with that language. Like, but I don't know what else to say. There we go. We're doing PragerU next, baby. Your YouTube chat is a fucking tanky hellscape right now. Oh, baby. Let's look at it. YouTube chat, what are you up to? Let's see. Vosh, whose side are you on? Support Kurdistan, free Kurdistan. Sure, probably. I don't know. Maybe. Why is it so hard to accept your post-World War II mindset is no longer applicable in the modern world? I have no idea what that means. Thoughts on Joker? I haven't seen it yet. Get Jane in chat? Who the fuck is Jane? Get mods in here? I'm not putting mods in YouTube chat. Why would I ever subject people to your fucking trash fire conversations? Jesus Christ. Let's moderate the shit pile where people shit in their hands and eat it. Yeah, all right. No, it's all right. Fuck tankies. What's your opinion on the Blizzard Hong Kong shit? Shh. That conversation is a surprise tool that will help us later. Let me go over donations really quickly. I'll watch Joker soon. Do you people have any fucking idea how busy I am on a day-to-day like basis? I bet you fucking Twappy hasn't seen it either. Why isn't my donation thing showing anything? That's weird. I'll just go to the the Donorinos, the Donadollies, the Donablobos, the Donaglos, Donatellos. That's interesting. A bunch of my donations aren't showing up. There must be something wrong with the YouTube API. They're not showing up on the donations tab for Streamlabs either. They're not showing up anywhere. Yeah, there's a 404 thing going on. Interesting. Well, I'm going to ignore them for now then. If any donos came through, any subscriptions, anything like that, then it's an error with PayPal or YouTube or someone in between. But the information will come through eventually. I'll fail to acknowledge it until then. You should start a movement where the left appreciates the Joker. Listen, we'll work on it, okay? Yeah, probably Douglas. Anyway, folks, my friends, my beautiful... Oh, God, you're all so fucking hot. Except for the underaged amongst you. I have no interest in you. Please leave. But don't actually leave. This is good educational streaming material. But I'm not referring to you here. You're all beautiful. Okay? Listen up, folks. Speaking of dictatorial, authoritarian nations influencing us through the medium through which the West is most susceptible. Blidio blames. Blizzard recently kowtowed to China in a particularly disgusting way. Here, check it. I don't know how many of you have already seen this, but Blizzard suspends Hearthstone player for Hong Kong support, pulls prize money. So, for a gist, there is a Hong Kong Hearthstone player, right? They won their tournament. You know Hearthstone, the Blizzard game? It's like a card game for children. You know how it is. Anyhow, here we can watch it right here. This is what took place.
你就讲完那8个字，然后导播我们就结束，我们就什么也都不要聊了。然后你随时可以开始。头先低下来。
光复香港，时代革命。
导播可以切回来了。
好，导播谢谢。
谢谢，好，可以了。
So basically what happened, to those of you who don't speak fucking Chinese, I do. That's why I'm able to effortlessly determine what is being said here. To those of you who are unaware, he, the winner, was from Hong Kong, or supported Hong Kong, I forget which. He, after winning, dressed up like a protester. So, you know, with the gas masks and like the goggles and stuff to protect against tear gas. And he said something along the lines of, liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age. Or something like that. And the moment he said it, the casters, who are Chinese, because this is an Asian, this is like the Asia Pacific Grandmasters tournament. So it's hosted within and hosted by, it's a Blizzard game, but it's just hosted in the Asian area, you know? Any of you who have played like competitive online video games know that there are different regions and games play out in those regions, and sometimes there are inter-regional tournaments that you fly people out for. Anyway, he said, liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our age. And the two casters, who are wise to China, the moment he said that, ducked their heads. You saw that in the video. They ducked, you know why? Because they knew that when this got screen capped, they did not want to be shown their faces on the same frame as somebody who was supporting Hong Kong. Imagine a political environment where somebody is on the same screen as you, expressing a political opinion which is unorthodox, and you have to turn your face to avoid being seen in the same screen as them. Anyhow, Blizzard didn't even wait for China to crack down on this. Blizzard suspended the Hearthstone player who won for 1 year and took away his earnings, his winnings. He took it away. He earned the money, took it away. And then fired the two casters, who had no idea what he was going to say. Just for being there, casters were sacked. And this was all Blizzard, an American company. Now Blizzard makes a ton of money from China. Overwatch, Hearthstone, these games make bank in China, and it's one of the reasons why their big Diablo announcement, that infamous Diablo announcement, what, you guys don't have phones? Was like a trashy, like mobile, like shit fucking mobile game, you know? Where you just Diablo, click to, you know, like that thing, you know? It's just Diablo 3, but on a phone, and it'll probably have microtransactions. It's because that shit sells in China. And Blizzard is so desperate to keep that Chinese market, so desperate to avoid incurring like ill favor from China, that they preemptively sacked those two casters just for being not even in the same room, just for being visible on the stream in the same screen, and suspended the player. Extraordinary. Can you think of how terrifying that is? That's like legit, like horrifying. You can't even express a political opinion, you'll get banned. Everyone around you will get banned. This is literally like how totalitarian, this is like Stalinist, or like North Korea tier, like political, you know, it's like the 3 generations rule. Like if you dishonor the government, like you get shot, and dishonor upon your child and your grandchild, and only after that do things go fine again. It's like, yeah, like, and this, by the way, this isn't This is capitalism, by the way. This is businesses who make most of their money from an authoritarian regime, censoring people who work with them and desperately like bending over to lick the boot of the Chinese government, because they don't want to lose a potential market. And it shows you how willing corporations are to bend the knee to authoritarians if it means they can make a little more money. It's funny to me because right now the prevailing thought here in America is support the Hong Kong protests, fuck China. And good, broken clocks right twice a day, right? But the economic system we all live under disagrees. And the extreme irony is that there are two groups of people in America who support China over the Hong Kong protesters: tankies and big business. Just a strange coincidence, that one. Everyone here in America understands the Hong Kong protests for their faults, people fighting for democracy against an authoritarian regime. Big corporations know, however, that the better they cater to the Chinese market, the less disfavor they incur from that authoritarian regime, the more money they'll be able to make off of it. Very strange thing for them to do from a People's Communist Republic. Anyhow, a fun little irony there, but the real problem is, of course, the fact that our corporations can do this. This is, by the way, it's not just them. Riot Games did this. Their casters have also like been shutting up and silencing players from Hong Kong, who have been expressing those sentiment because League of Legends makes a lot of money from the Chinese, and the NBA did a lot of that stuff too recently. I know that was a big controversy. The NBA shut up people who were taking pro Hong Kong. It's very strange. Very strange that. Anyway, yeah, League is owned by a Chinese company. Yeah, that's true, but, you know, Blizzard is an American company, and they're kowtowing too. It doesn't really have to do with the nationality of the company. What it has to do with is how much money you make from that company. That's really it at the end of the day. And capitalism it mandates the profit motive. You have to make as much money for your shareholders as you can. You're legally obligated to. It's not a choice. You can't, as a CEO, you can't put your heel in the ground and say, no, I will not censor these Hong Kong protesters, not to appeal to you, China. Because if doing that you make less money, you're literally breaking the law. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your stockholders, which means, and as a natural, sort of consequence of this, which means that corporations are utterly divorced from moral consideration. There is no need whatsoever for them to adhere themselves to any moral or ethical concerns as long as they're working within the bounds of the law, and even then only if they're going to get caught if they don't work within the bounds of the law. And what this means, invariably, is that a system which works best, hypothetically, let's just buy the capitalist line here, through competition, through open transparency, through maneuvering systems which compete to provide the best service to the player at the, at the least cost to the company, are instead made subservient to authoritarian regimes, where making money has less to do with making a good product and more to do with making sure you don't incur the ill wrath of the People's Republic of China. And that, by the way, has been the case for a really long time. None of this is new. This is by no means the first time corporations have gone out of their way to appease dictatorships. You'd look up the history of South America. I know that sounds vague, but if I specify any one thing, then I feel as though I'm leaving out the other 99. It's like this just happens all the time. And it's one of the reasons why capitalism is incompatible with democracy. It's not just because, capitalism, the wage slavery, it leaves people stupid, the businesses co-op with the government. All of those things are true, don't get me wrong, and they're important. But another big fucking reason is that capitalism works better without democracy. It functions better without it. There's no meaningful democracy in China, and look at how they're exploding. They're a capitalist country. They're booming. Capitalism just functions better because it turns out when you combine the general productivity and free market influence of capitalism with the implicit coercive force of an oppressive regime in a state, you have essentially an irresistible market force, something which is at once efficient, markets, and overwhelming. It can't be ignored. And that's the union of the two. It just works better without democracy. It's why corporations keep fighting against democracy all the time, constantly, in every way, shape, and form possible. They hate it. They hate democracy. They'll do everything in their power to make sure the average citizen is stupid and underinformed, to make sure that the average citizen is as distanced from the interests of the politicians that are meant to represent them as possible. That's what they lobby for. That's all they lobby for. Because they don't get their power through democracy. They get it through capital. And that's not something you and I have access to. I mean, I've got a little money. Maybe you have a little money. Or maybe you even have a lot of money. But you're not a billionaire. You don't own a transnational corporation. I assume. Maybe you do. Welcome. Consider sponsoring me. It's a problem. That's it. And if you're interested in things like freedom and free expression, then you should recognize the symptom here is capitalism. So, yeah. Oh, and again, Tanky's blown the fuck out. Again, two groups of people who are supporting fucking PRC over China. Two groups of people. Two groups. You have big business and tankies. Ooh, that's got a sting right there. Ah, damn. Right here in the heart. I'm the real leftist. I understand that critical support for the People's Republic of China is the best way to oppose American imperialism. Oh, right. All the big transnational corporations, aka how American imperialism manifests in the 21st century, are supporting China too. Okay, gonna pretend I didn't see that. Oh, man. Lamau. Alright, we fucked around for long enough without doing a fucking PragerU. I'm gonna take a quick piss. I love you guys. Again, I would read out donos, but they're just not showing. They're just not showing. There's something wrong right now with the with the API. All of your donations are going through, by the way. It's not as though they're being lost. Here's what I'm going to do. If they don't show up today, I'll just save them. I won't read them, won't address them. And next stream, beginning of the stream, I'll read them all out. Respond proper. That's it. So I'm not ignoring no one. Be right back. I'm going to wash my damn hands, too, so I don't hear any fucking whining when I get back here. Oh, guys, by the way, I just want you to know I fucking beefed it. Chest workout yesterday. Oh, it feels so good to be working out again. Also, listen, I'm going to share with all of you my dirty secret, okay? All right? I maxed out my bench. It wasn't as high as I hoped it was going to be, okay? It was only 145. All right? Listen, we're going to bring it up. 3 months down, okay? We're going to be hitting 200. That's the goal. Okay? Is that a sock under one of the boxes? Yes. The cat plays around with them. All right. Let's not fuck around too long, huh? That, I'm not gonna lie, dude. That Blizzard shit really pisses me off. I really, I used to like Blizzard games a lot, you know? They meant a lot to me. This is fucking... Oh no. Oh no. Please. Please. Not like this, please. Fucking God, please. Yamero. Alright. Okay, boys. You know what time it is? It's time for me to assume my true identity.
It's kind of like the Idi Amin situation.
Perfect. It's all coming together. All right. We're doing it. Boys, we're entering a new era. A new era of Vosh content. I'm ready for the Hillary Clinton. For the Hillary Clinton fucking 2020 memes, okay? I'm ready. I'm prepared. I'm committing to this joke, no matter how long it takes. I could do a color gradient, but that would take a lot longer, okay? Listen, don't worry about it. There we go. Honk honk, my brothers. Honk honk. Clown world now. I'm ready. Trump versus Clinton. 2020. And again, 2024. Trump and Clinton forever. It's the only conflict I want to live out. I don't care about Rojava. I don't care about fucking... I don't care about fucking... fucking Syria. All I care about is watching the world burn. I'm ready. I'm tweeting this dog whistle. All of you are going to have to give it context, okay? There we go. We live in a society. Okay, can we fucking focus on Prager University? Can we? Is it really so difficult for us to keep our attention spans together for like more than a few seconds at a time? Is that really hard for us? Do we really struggle that much? Let's go to my videos I want to yell at. Let's see. I want to yell at that one. I want to yell at this one. Oh god. Ugh. Chat, you're choosing. Chat, you're choosing. Okay? Are we doing climate activists use kids to fuel hysteria? Or how the government made you fat? I don't believe in polls. All right, looks like we're going chubby for this one. Oh, baby. Let's... Give it to me.
Here's a riddle.
Ah!
How is it?
Ah! Okay, I wasn't ready. Now I'm ready. Wait, first. I have to activate my chakras. Hold on. All right, my chakras are activated. I have achieved nirvana. I'm ready for Prager University to give me a fucking hernia.
Here's a riddle.
Oh.
How
Riddle me this. Nah.
is it that ever since the government began telling us what to eat, we've gotten fatter and sicker?
All right, first off, let's discuss cause. Actually, I think when I'm... No, I was going to say I'm going to try and stay calm during this, but I don't like to make promises I can't keep. Okay, so first off, do we know what the difference is between correlation and causation? Can everyone throw up a hypers in chat? So maybe the fact that Americans have gotten fatter and sicker has more to do with pressure from the food industries and pharmaceutical industries than it does with the FDA food pyramid. Now, there is... causation to an extent here. I'm just arguing, I'm pointing out the fact this is a very bad argument. Yeah, fuck it, let's go!
1977, when the government first set dietary guidelines,
Damn.
the average American male weighed 170
This
pounds.
dude's molding. Look at
He
his
now weighs
hairline.
197.
Damn.
It's not any better for women.
Wait, is this...
He now weighs 190.
Is that really a difference of...
American male weighed 107.
Is this really a difference of 27 pounds? Is it... Wait, got... My dudes, here's a picture of me 27 pounds ago.
70 pounds. He now weighs 190.
Damn. Wow, that fucking... Jeez, Christ. You, man, put all that weight on the front, you know? Maybe, like, his back is still, like, ripped. The fat moved from the back of the body to the front. I'm, like, 250 pounds. I look nothing like this. I like how he has the tumbler nose, though. You guys know the art style? Where you, like, make the nose all red and stuff? I don't know.
7. It's not any better for women. 145 to 170.
Was that really 25
It's not
pounds?
any better for women. 145
This bitch looks skinny. This
to
bitch
170.
less so. Also, what happened to the hair? Wait, why'd the hair
It's
die?
not any better for women.
I'm sorry, I'm just really perplexed by the...
145
Okay, so the hair... So this is what hair looked like back then, apparently. And then here's the change, and there we go.
170.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I mean, all right.
And you don't need an academic study to know the same thing is happening to kids. Just look around. The weight gain has real-life consequences. Is happening to kids. Just look around. The weight gain has real-life consequences. The percentage of Americans diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, a condition that can lead to severe medical issues, has risen from 2% in 1977 to over 9% in 2015.
Okay, so just so it's known, by the way, like, I don't disagree with any of this. Like we absolutely do have a fucking obesity problem in this country and a lot of other countries. But that's the thing. See, here's something that PragerU is going to have difficulty answering. And by having difficulty answering, I mean they're not going to address it. The rise in obesity for Americans has been paralleled by a rise in obesity for basically every other country that is even remotely similar to ours. Every other developed country. Why is that? Interesting. Because the premise here is that the American government made us fat. So why is it that we have seen astronomical increases in weight, obesity, type 2 diabetes in countries all across the world comparable to our own, sometimes even greater percentages elsewise? But they're blaming America. That's interesting. Not just America, the American government. Please go over how misleading that chart is.
Percent in 1977 to over 9% in 2015.
I mean, that's a 2% and a 9%. The second bar is indeed 4.5 times as large as the first bar. That seems good to me.
In hard numbers, that's 5 million people to over 30 million people. How did this happen? It all started innocently enough in the 1950s when President Dwight Eisenhower had a heart attack while in office. Suddenly, the issue of heart health became a national obsession. Keep in mind, this was an
Wasn't he also, like, really old?
era when scientists had harnessed the power of the atom, unlocked the secrets of DNA, and cured once incurable diseases like polio.
Why haven't we seen the person who's doing the speaking yet? Normally they have like an opening card and then the person goes, "Hi, I'm a dumb fuck. Hello, listen to my propaganda piece." But this time we haven't actually seen yet.
Surely there had to be a scientific solution to heart disease. There was. And a charismatic medical researcher from the University of Minnesota named Ansel Keys had it.
Wait, did we already see him? All the PragerU videos blur together for me.
Cholesterol, Keys claimed,
Cholesterol
was the villain of the heart disease story. His now famous 7-country study determined conclusively, in his mind at least, that people who consumed high amounts of fat, specifically saturated fat, had higher cholesterol levels and thus higher rates of heart attacks.
Damn.
Lower
Wait,
your
yeah,
fat-
aren't we doing a riddle right now? Yeah, this riddle does fucking suck. What the fuck? Can you imagine? Wait, like at a party, like, "Hey dudes, I've got a riddle for you." Oh, cool. What's a riddle? Why is it that after the American government began to tell us what to eat, Americans started getting fatter? You see, back in 1970, the average weight was like, fuck, give me a fucking riddle. It's
fat intake, and you would lower your heart disease risk.
Oh, by the way, I want to point out that I know how this video is going to do it, okay? Because I'm ready. I'm on it. By the way, I want to credit everything that I know to Hyena, because Hyena knows about fat politics more than I do, because she's got like big fucking spoily titties. Big milkers, okay? Listen. So basically, the gist of what happened is the FDA was at the time of the development of the first food pyramid. You guys remember the food pyramid, right? It's triangle, and the bottom is like the bread, and then you've got like meat. I think it's the bread, and then you've got fruit and veggies, meat and dairy, and then sweets, right? You got that? I think it's something like that. I haven't seen it. It's a garbage pyramid. It literally says like you have to eat a truckload of bread every day. The issue is, back when the FDA made that food pyramid, they were being influenced by a variety of sources, mainly from studies and from lobbying done by big food groups and lobbying groups. You know, now the issue is. Some of those food groups had competing interests. For example, there were food sort of lobbies that worked with fat, like they tend to be like meat or dairy. These are very fatty foods, and there were businesses that would work more in the sugars department. You know, like for example, bread, because carbohydrate turns to sugar in your, or well, sugar turns to carb, but there's a relationship very strongly between these two things, along with sweets and what have you. And both of these sort of competing groups of food lobbyists were funding like these studies to try and prove their points, like our food is healthier, our food is better, our food is good for you. You know, there are no negative consequences linked to our food. There are no studies that show that. Like on and on and on and on and on, all the time, constantly. And sugars won out. Sugars won out, and for that reason, fat got blamed for everything. You guys remember like the low-fat diets, you know? Like you can eat fucking whatever, as long as you don't have the fucking bacon, the meats, the so on and so forth. Like this was like a really big thing, and it was particularly big back in like the 1980s and 1990s and what have you. And the reason for that was because the FDA published a version of the food pyramid that corresponded to the productive interests of the sugar lobbies. So everything got blamed on fat. Meats and such, very small portion of the triangle. Bread, you can eat all the fucking bread you want, baby. It's all good. Problem is, the reason why all that happened was because a lot of studies which were done at the time that indicated sugar was a much bigger problem for your health than was originally suggested ended up getting buried. Because if you're a sugar lobby and you pay some scientists, hey, is sugar good for you? Give us good results. And the scientists come back and say, actually, we've done some tests, and no, sugar's bad for you. That test belongs to the sugar lobby. Those research results belong to the sugar lobby. They're not going to publish them. They're not going to publish them. Why would they publish that? And likewise, it's a propaganda war, and the FDA bought in. So for decades now, we've believed that fat is everything. Fat makes you fat. Cholesterol, arteries, diabetes, type 2, whatever. Turns out, we got lied to. Sugar fucks you up way worse. In terms of like what's fucking up your health, it's probably sugar. It's probably sugar. Just throwing that out there. So, what's the story that you want to take from this? Huh?
Sorry, did you leave the lighter in here?
Did I, what?
Did I leave the lighter?
You really need to stop leaving weed paraphernalia in here while I'm streaming.
I just didn't remember.
No. No, I don't see it here.
Okay, sorry, I love you.
I love you too.
It's red.
Speaking of fat, them fucking honkers over there. So anyway, what are we taking from this? So there are two ways that you can frame this. You can frame this as the American government is responsible for making people fat, which is to a partial extent true because they collaborated with industries that were lying to get their food sold at the expense of the health of the American citizenry. Or you can make this a story about capitalism, how food lobbies and businesses are incentivized by the market to subvert democracy, to lie, to propagandize, to spread misleading information, and to engage in rent-seeking behavior, to move in on the government and pressure them into doing what it is the business wants. So, which do I blame, the government or capitalism? Well, the American government did publish that food pyramid, but that same problem happened everywhere else in the developed world, where food industries were pushing that exact same bullshit. So it doesn't really seem like it's an American government problem, or at least if it is, it's a problem of governments being susceptible to the influence of businesses. And that is a capitalism problem. Who's this person? Brett Share. I want to look at this person really quickly. I love to know who I'm talking about. Brett Share. Who are we talking about? A diet doctor. Okay, that's good. And a lipidologist. I don't know what that means. That means like a fat doctor, right? Lipids? Certified physician specializing in the prevention of dyslipidemia, cholesterol or other lipid disorders or related metabolic diseases. Yeah, okay. So it's like it's like a fat doctor kind of, basically, you know? Like similar, sort of. I'm not a doctor. Let's see. Can we find a Wikipedia page for this person? I would love to see if they have any interests. They don't have a Wikipedia page? This is a first. No. Well, here's the man. I don't see you on Wikipedia. I hope to be the most unique cardiologist you have ever encountered. Sure, I'm a card-carrying, board-certified cardiologist, and I spent years learning the invasive procedures and medications used to treat heart disease. Now I want to do everything in my power to make sure those multi-billion-dollar tools and drugs go unused. Okay, my goal is to inspire individuals like you to dictate your own health by adopting healthy lifestyle habits that will allow you to achieve your best health ever. Health free of prescription drugs. Health that leaves you feeling great, energetic, and living the life you've always dreamed. And health with you in control. Nice. I love it when people are in control. So this is literally just a piece he wrote about himself. Yeah, he wrote this about himself, or at least he had someone he paid to write it. It's a shame there's no Wikipedia page on this person, because that would make it a hell of a lot easier for me to... Is this them in San Diego? They have one review. It's a 5-star review. Ooh, the office environment got 3 stars. What are you gonna do? He's written a book. Your Best Health Ever. The Cardiologist's Surprisingly Simple Guide to What Really Works. Fascinating. Well, I'm actually like really fucking disappointed that I couldn't find that I couldn't find anything on Wikipedia. Does it just say, hey, be less fat? Well, that's kind of the thing. This seems like a pop doctor to me, you know? The kind of person, yeah, who would sell like self-help books and empower you to live your best, like that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But you know what? Let's do it.
The ever-confident Keyes spread the gospel. As an influential member of the American Heart
I
Association,
hate his voice, by
he
the
was
way.
in a very strong position to do so.
He sounds like a
There was
chipmunk in
only
a cartoon.
one problem. Keyes' study was bad science. The sample size was so small, the data collection integrity so shoddy, and the lifestyle variables between the countries he studied so great that his research had no scientific validity.
I mean, I agree with all of this, yeah. This was, oh yeah, he does kind of sound like Andy Milonakis. Doesn't he sound a little bit like Andy Milonakis? Hold on.
That's it? Yeah. Nice to meet you, man. Andy. Shout out to Gus. Hashtag Gus. Meow, meow, meow. Cheers. Is there any...
I see it and I feel it, all right? I'm not letting chat throw me off my game.
In other words, he asserted a conclusion he couldn't.
Are small sample sizes inherently bad for studies? Almost certainly, yes. It depends on what kind of study you're doing, but for almost every type of scientific study, you want a large enough sample size that you could statistically, oh God, what's that term? Export, extol, extract, ascribe the results from that sample size to the general population. Extrapolate. Yes, thank you. Extrapolate. Thank you. That you could extrapolate the results to the population. That's one of the biggest ways that they'll get you. And by they, of course, I mean the Jews. No, but they have bad researchers. The methodology that goes into like good scientific research is really it's really specific. Sometimes they can like really trip you up unless you know what you need to be looking for.
Improve. When other scientists questioned Keyes' conclusions, they were invariably met with stern responses like, people are dying while you're quibbling over data points, and there are great benefits and no risks to adopting this new way of eating.
Notice, by the way, that this is all done by corporate. Hold on, what was the name of this person? Let's find out.
Medical researcher from the university and a charismatic medical... Surely there had to be a scientific solution to heart disease. There was. And a charismatic medical researcher from the University of Minnesota named Ansel Keys had it. It's a no-risk...
Ansel Keys. We're bouncing all over the place with this one. Ah, there you go. Look, when you Google it, that's the first thing that comes up. He was an American physiologist who studied the influence of diet on health. Nice. He hypothesized that saturated fat was what caused heart disease and should be avoided. Interesting. Who did he work for? Here's the 7-country study. Yeah, I don't see any indication that this person worked for the government. Listen, 1883 to 1961? What do you mean? Yeah, how can this dude talk about fat? This dude wasn't even fat. What a fucking poser. Jesus Christ. When Keyes was hired at the Mayo Foundation in 1936, he married such and such as a medical technologist. Later the Mayo Foundation. It's just funny. Notable awards. He died in 2004. Impressive. Yeah, and here's him, here's the sugar controversy. The efforts to discredit the case against sugar were largely successful, and by the time of Yudkin's death in 1995, his warnings were, for the most part, no longer being taken seriously. This is actually really interesting stuff, and if you go through it, you can learn how big business and how corporate interests can subvert, like, good, honest medical research. It's actually really good stuff. Or you could just blame the government.
Risks to adopting this new way of eating. In 1973, the American Heart Association set the dietary limit on saturated fat at 10%. And in 1977, the U.S. government followed suit. Where did the 10% value come from?
What does that, wait, what does that even mean? 10% of what? 10% of all food you eat has to be fat? 10% of calorie intake? Ah, gotcha, okay. So like every meal you partition like 10%. That's actually really low.
It didn't come from any scientific data. It was merely a government committee's best guess. This was despite contrary evidence like the 1957 Western Electric Company employee study, showing no difference in heart attacks in those who ate more or less saturated fat.
From 18 years ago.
A longer-term study of the same Western Electric subjects in 1981 reached the same conclusion. But again, no one wanted to hear it.
It's not that nobody wanted to hear it. There were arguments being made in favor of sugar being a larger problem. The issue was, again, there were a fuck ton of businesses that would have lost a fuck lot of money if the United States government had come out and said, "Hey guys, by the way, sugar is like catastrophic for your health."
To make this all easier to understand and to spread the message to schools,
Notice, by the way, that he is yet to make the. Oh my god, he's fucking coming for me! Holy shit, look at him! He's about to fucking mock me. Notice how no argument has yet been made, like making the government in any way, shape, or form responsible for this. Just because the government like changes a policy based on private research, like that's not in and of itself an argument against the government. That private research would have been disseminated anyway.
the food pyramid was created. That's the chart you first saw in 3rd or 4th grade, with all the supposedly good foods at the bottom, meaning eat a lot of those,
Pasta.
and the bad foods at the top.
Wait, it's the bitch from before. They're reusing art assets. Look at this. They're reusing the art assets. Unforgivable. Unforgivable. Shameless.
Eat those ones sparingly. What our kids are fed in school, what our military troops are fed on bases, what sick people are fed in hospitals, what crops we plant, and how we raise our cattle are all predicated on this deceptive nutritional concept.
Again, I don't disagree with any of this. Do you know what I think this is? I think this is, I think what this was is, my guess is that this guy, this cardiologist, is actually not a very political person. I don't think this person is actually a, like that, like right-leaning at all. Or maybe he is, but not like PragerU or anything. I think he's a cardiologist who's big on this this like the fat lie, you know, and that's obviously like his job because he's a cardiologist. And PragerU was looking for another opportunity to dunk on the government, so they brought this guy in and they were like, "Hey, just talk about your shit, you know, here's the script or whatever, write it up, we'll collaborate on it." You know, just like recognize like, "Hey, this is kind of like the FDA fucking up, you know, right?" And like the guy says yes or whatever. You did read he's against prescription medicine, right? Well, to be fair, the pharmaceutical industry is pretty fucked. Ideally, you do want people to be healthy without the help of pharmaceutical medications. Now, I'm not saying this guy isn't a grifter or isn't a piece of shit. I'm saying this probably is like more of an apolitical dude who's just trying to make money off selling a message, who just like got this platform from PragerU because PragerU wanted to hear him talk about the government. You know what I mean?
As Americans ate less
Don't
saturated
open your
fat,
mouth at me.
margarine instead of butter, processed oils like corn oil instead of olive oil, low-fat milk, low-fat yogurt, and so on, they also started to eat more heart-healthy grains, exactly what the food pyramid and the updated version called My Plate advise you to do. As the consumption of and the
what is
updated
that?
version called My Plate advise.
Dude, it's not happening. Okay? Listen. I don't know about you guys, okay? But here's my plate. Day after day. This is what I live with, okay? All right? We're making it look nice and pretty, folks. This is my life. Okay, listen. The reason why this is shaped like this is because it's shaped like a to-go box, okay? I don't want to hear any fucking shit from you bitch babies. From you fucking bitch ass, cuck, fuck, bitch boy, baby, cuck, bitch babies. Okay? Here's my shit, alright? Here's how I fill it up. First, we get the protein. Okay? This is like chicken or beef, but mostly chicken. Then we get the protein. Okay? So far, so good. And then, usually, a little bit of the protein spills out because I get a lot. All right? Then I get that. And then, over here, we get the rice from Panda Express. And we also have a side takeout thingy right here with the important food ingredient, the wontons. Okay? And then, after that, we have a bowl okay? We have a bowl right here. And the bowl is usually evenly split between chips and sweets. Okay? This is a quality meal. Usually it'll be a combination of like pretzels and M&Ms. And this is a good solid meal, okay? Listen, I get my protein. All right, it tastes good. And this is one meal. Why the fuck are the sweets and chips together? To mix savory and salty. I mean, savory and sweet. There are no actual differences between food types. There is only savory and sweet. Okay? That's the only thing that really matters. So, and then sometimes you have unique mixtures. Okay? That's the good shit right there. So, for example, the meats are a combination of savory and sweet because they usually have orange chicken sauce. The rice is just savory because I pour soy sauce over it. And then over here, the wontons are usually just sweet because I smother them in so much sweet and sour sauce that I can't taste the cream cheese. Or the crab rangoons, I'm sorry. And then here, to balance out the rest of the meal, we have a mixture of savory and sweet. And that is a balanced ass meal. I'm qualified to talk about health issues.
Advise you to do. As the consumption of saturated fat decreased by almost 40%, the consumption of refined grains, carbohydrates that convert to sugar in the body, increased substantially. Total intake of calories also began to increase. This happened in no small part because food companies took advantage of the low-fat craze. They lowered fat and increased sugar. Suddenly, supermarkets were full of supposedly healthy, low-fat, high-sugar foods.
I want to point out, by the way, that I agree. I literally agree with most of this video. It's still just we're almost done with the video, and it hasn't even been indicated that this is like a government thing. This is literally just corporations like pushing deceptive information and it being accepted by the government because there was a lot of competing info at the time. What?
It remains that way today. Foods that are high in sugar stimulate reward centers in the brain and leave us wanting more. Thus,
Wait, they do that with fat too. Also, wait, she's eating chips right here. Chips aren't high in sugar. Chips are fatty. What? If those are potato chips, those would be very fatty, even if they're low fat. Why would you make this point while showing someone eating chips a fatty food?
the famous line about potato chips, bet you can't eat just one.
They're not sugar-based. They're fat. Okay.
The end result is a fatter population with greater and greater health issues, like type 2 diabetes.
You keep showing people eating fat-heavy foods. Yeah, it's carb-heavy, but like if you look at the back of like potato chips, that shit is not low on fat. Like if we're like shit talking sugar, wouldn't we want to talk about wouldn't we want to talk like fucking M&Ms or something? I don't know. Guys, I know carbs is sugar, but they picked literally the fattiest carb-based food. Potato chips are just a symbol for junk food? Yeah, okay, whatever.
A problem that's getting worse.
Also, we got any feet fetishists? Chips have sugar in them? Not. Where is it? Where do I find it? Where's the fucking thing? Here. Lay's potato chips, okay? Sugar, 0 grams. Total fat, 10 grams. Damn. Wow. Potato chips are... Yeah, I fucking know carbs are fucking sugar. You stupid piece... Listen, we're all calm here. You stupid pieces of shit. However, if you're going to demonstrate that sugar is addictive, you probably don't want to do it through the consumption of a admittedly carb-based but nonetheless extremely fatty treat. Like, this is like the fattiest fucking carb-based snack you could possibly have. Pringles? Who the fuck cares about Pringles? The site can't even be reached. Not even the site cares about Pringles. Pringles really are shit. People who like Pringles... Actually, you know what? Pringles and Lay's are both trash. If you like potato chips, get real fucking potato chips. Go to Trader Joe's or something. Why the fuck would you get this shit? Seriously, Lay's are disgusting. Pringles are disgusting. I can't eat them. I'm not memeing right now. I can't eat these foods. They're not good. All right, can we actually fucking focus?
Not better. How do we get ourselves out of this spiral? There are many answers. For some, it's a low-carb, high-fat diet. For others, it's a Mediterranean diet. For some, it's vegetarianism. For others, it might be something else. You need to
Wow. Where's the rep for my vegan gang rise up?
find the best solution for you. And that's really the point. We need to take responsibility for our own health. If the food pyramid has taught us one thing, it's this. Don't rely on the government to take care of you.
Okay, that was the line that PragerU wrote in. Literally, this entire video was just him talking about how sugars are worse for you than fats or whatever, and that you were lied to. All of which is true. And then PragerU was like, okay, you have to do all of that, but at the end, you have to finish with this line.
I'm Dr. Brett Scher, cardiologist for Prager University.
Not intended to substitute the consultation, diagnosis, or medical treatment of your own physician or healthcare provider. Okay, that was like, as PragerU videos go, that one was pretty fucking tolerable. It was incredibly reductive as always, but you know, but still, is PragerU actually university? No, of course it's not. But yeah, good meme. Yeah, I thought it'd be more fat phobic too. It'd be like, yeah, disgusting. But no, guys, like for real though, like it's true. Like fat's better for you. It's like it's fine, you know. Trans fat's not good, but like fat's fine. And sugar is pretty fucking bad for you, you know. Fat is present in most every food that we eat, after all. Especially like honestly, I kind of listen. I'm going crazy. I'm returning to my primitive roots. All right, so if you want to look at what's like healthy for humans, you kind of have to tie it back to what we were designed to eat, like paleo gang shit. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we would eat meats and we would forage. Okay, meat is high in fat, obviously. Fucking that fucking, it's got lots of that marble fat shit. You know, you gotta get that in. And also, fruits and veggies are good or whatever. Okay, there you go. Fat's fine. Nowhere in our paleo diet was like high sugar-based content, because that only really exists through like heavy processing and refinement. Stop, you're embarrassing yourself? What, with the monkey thing where I'm dancing out? What? Bosh, please. What about cis fats? Oh, those are even worse. We would not eat a lot of meat though, mostly gather things like plants. No, I'm pretty sure that pre-modern humans ate a decent amount of meat. Yeah. We ate a lot of fruits and vegetables. No, not as much as now, but nowadays we have like fucking 3 burgers a day. Whatever. Oh, wait, Silas. Yeah, maybe. Probably not now because this is dumb shit. All right. It's actually kind of triggering me that none of the donos are going through. It makes me feel like an ungrateful little fucking shit. It also means you fuckers aren't donating because you know I'm not going to respond to them. Is that the reason why? Is that why you're fucking holding out on me? You pieces of shit. I wonder if it's actually going through to my PayPal. Hold on. Donated twice? Yeah, I know some of you donated. Okay, I have excellent news. Okay, I'm happy to say that the donations are going through because they're right fucking here on my PayPal. It's just for so that would mean it's the Streamlabs API that's not picking up on the donations, or it might be YouTube because no, I am getting super chats, so it is specifically Streamlabs that's fucking up. Okay, there we go. Now we know. Okay, all right. Okay, here we go. That beard is fake. Prove me wrong. I mean, I just trimmed off half of it. Why don't we just talk, chat? Chat, what's been going on with you? Why don't we just chat it out? White Nervosa just updated your site. Could be that. Yeah, it could be that. No, wait. I don't know if that would cause these problems. I want to talk about nutrition. 21st Century Socialist, if you fucking type out a big post of what I said that's stupid, then you can do that. But I'm not fucking bringing anyone on here. Oh, there's a fruit fly. Really? I thought that was a sick hit. Fuck. Oh. Boots is better than Lay's, you mongrels? That's a racist slur. Finally got laid for the first time in ages, Vosh. Actually, thanks a bit to your advice. Hey! Hey, actually, that's something that I've been wanting to talk about lately. Wait. Can we, like, actually talk about sex for a second? Like, actually talk, or maybe like relationship or something. Like, wait, hold on, but not as a meme, because every time we talk about it, it turns into a fucking meme, and all you people start thirst posting. Okay, I read a lot of incel shit, right? Because I think it's like a really interesting and specific thing, you know. And I talk about it, and I think about it a lot, you know. Like, it's a real issue. The incel thing, not just because a lot of them are super hateful, because they are, you know, that's true, but it's also because, like, for a lot of these people, like, the reason why people are getting lonelier, people are getting less friends, people are getting less sex partners, and all of this is a product of loneliness, and loneliness is a product of alienation is a product of capitalism, and blah blah blah. We can fucking relegate everything back to that if we want to. But let's not this time. Beard hair, fuck you. This time let's focus. Okay, creator phase. I saw it. I promise you I saw it. But let's like wheel back on that for a second. Like, there are like so many fucking lonely people. Yeah, let's change stream title real quick to incel shit. There are so many lonely people, and I feel like they don't know how to like meet other people. You know? And that's really sad. I'm not actually that great at meeting people in person either. I've always done most of my stuff online. When I meet friends in person, it's usually because I had a friend introduce me to them. You know? But I've always had like trouble sometimes with like making friends in real life. A lot of that is because I don't really care that much. I'm honestly fine with online interaction for the most part. Especially nowadays, I'm like really, really busy because of all of the all of the online stuff. And a lot of us are busy. And that's one of the products of capitalism, you know. Our lives are so like fucking frantic. All of our free time is kept up. We have to meet our obligations. We have to work enough to live. There's always the possibility of us getting sick, not being able to work, getting fired, getting injured, and all these things can lead to horrible consequences. So we work and we work and we keep on our grind as hard as we can to decrease the likelihood of us not having enough money to deal with it, you know. So on and so forth. Yeah, Hyena, you're right. I do have a hard time actually caring about people, like in person. Like, they're mostly just entertainment for the most part. But whatever the case is, I wanted to talk about this because, like, I did a little bit of work on this point, and I was hoping maybe we could, like, talk about it. For if you're like, I don't mean just if you're like lonely. If you legit have like no IRL friends and don't know how to make any, and you want to, can you like hypers? Can you like throw your hand up really quick? I want to see. I want to see like what we're dealing with here. I love you. That's a fair number of people. Just, I feel like I feel like I'm gonna be like really reductive if I try and talk about this, you know. But like, okay, yeah, all right, I'll try my best. So, if you want to make friends, like, let's assume you have the time to do so. Making friends is like really fucking important. We're social creatures, that's important. But also, it's a really good way to help us develop ourselves as human beings. If you don't have any friends, you don't really have any people to test yourself against. And if you don't have any people to test yourself against, by which I mean interact with, kind of have your flaws and your benefits reflected in their eyes against yourself. It's the imagined externalized other, but now there's an actual human being there. There's sociological theory that trends towards this, you know. Humans are developed through our imagined self-perception in the eyes of others. So, if you're wandering alone in the forest, on your own, completely alone, never met another human being, you don't really have a perception of self. You don't have to, because there's just you. You control your body. And you interact with the environment, of course. But there's no reason to form a distinctive sense of identity because there's nothing to compare it to. But if you meet another person, if you find another person out in the woods, suddenly the imagined other is a thing against which you test your identity. It's a reflection. It's the mirror you look into. All of a sudden now, everything about you matters in ways it didn't before. Your posture, how you dress yourself, how you speak, your inflection, your tone, your availability. How much time do you dedicate towards this person? Are you tentative? Do you approach? Are you naive? What? How? What does it all mean? And all of these things only really matter in the presence of another person. And that process is really important. Without other people, you have no idea who you are. I know that sounds really reductive. Like, well, of course I know who I am with others. But like, you have other ways of gauging this. You make eye contact with people down the street. Or if you don't leave your house, you at least have your internet posts. And you can compare yourself to others. That process of refinement. This sounds like Hegel's criticism of Descartes. Well, Hegel ripped a lot of his shit from God. I'm forgetting the sociological theorist. Who the fuck is this person's name? He talked about the externalized other as well. This is the Hegelian dialectic. No, it's not just the Hegelian dialectic. There's another, there was a sociological theorist who developed this. It wasn't just Hegel. It wasn't Kant. No, it's not Hegel and Kant. Stop. It's not philosophy. It's sociology. Okay, if it doesn't matter, guys. Whatever the case is, it's very valid. Locke? No. Lacan? It might be Lacan. It might be Lacan. It's not Karl Marx. Okay, stop. Please stop. If you haven't taken sociology courses, just stop. Just stop. Please stop. Oh, is it Weber? It might be Max Weber. Wait. Max Weber externalized. Okay, wait. Is it Max Weber? Let's see. Inspirations, methodology, sociology of religion, Protestant ethic and the spirit of capitalism, politics of government, economics, legacy, critical responses to Weber. Legacy, influence, political sociology, sociology of religion, positivist tradition. No, I don't think it was Weber. Can we focus? It's not Durkheim. Emma Goldman? Yeah, it was. Listen, it was Sargon of Akkad. None of this matters. The point that I'm getting at is that having friends is important because it helps you develop as a human being as well. And that's real. It's not just for like personal entertainment, you know? And that process of development can make you better in the future. Having friends now, learning how to be a good friend, learning those social skills can like really fucking help you out in the future. Like, if you have the time to do so, I would really strongly you would be, guys, listen to Jocko, okay? It is extraordinary how much more time and energy you can extract from your life if you have the discipline to form a schedule and adhere to it with a psychopathic level of dedication. It is possible. Who cares if you develop as a person or not, though? It's almost always a beneficial process for your personal well-being to develop as a person. It's possible to have bad influences, of course, but can't this be achieved through introspection? Certainly there are only some things that can be dealt with internally. Some things can only be dealt with internally, of course, but everything can't be dealt with introspection. I would say that most problems and most character traits can only really be developed through interaction with others. Otherwise, you're just a... Introspection isn't your own voice, you know. When you introspect, you're actually listening to the voices of everyone else you've ever paid attention to, formed into an aggregate, and that speaks to you. There's no introspection is almost a misnomer. There's no real internal process there. You are who you are, and the process by which you form your thoughts and develop your opinions, like this is an autonomous process. When you listen to yourself, when you self-crit, you're not really listening to yourself. You're usually listening to perspectives of others that you have bottled up in your own. Perspectives you respect, but ones which you do not necessarily adopt. Now, anyway, yeah, you can't talk yourself out of loneliness. That's true. If you have the time to do so, I would really strongly recommend you try and go online and find if there are going to be any events like nearby. You know? A lot of you are probably nerds, right? I imagine, I assume. I mean, I play Dungeons and Dragons and I play video games and stuff. Exactly, Hyena. A game shop is a really good idea. Find some people to play Dungeons and Dragons with. Or maybe just drop in and watch other people do it. You should go to social events, not with the intention of making friends. You should go there with the intention of spending an hour or two outside of the bubble you've built for yourself. Just go there and interact with other people. It's incredible how many different types of people there are. There are so many different types of people. I mean, like, so many unique experiences. Especially in spaces like that, you know? What if we go to social events and nobody talks with you? That's fine. Don't go to a social event like expecting to like bust out of your shell and make a bunch of friends. Go there, observe other people, try and feel a little comfortable. If you don't go to a social space ever, but then you manage to go to one and nobody talks to you, that's a huge success. Just having gone to one is a huge success. And if you can learn to bear the discomfort of going to a place like that and not being super social, then it will make it infinitely easier to bear the discomfort of going to one of those places and actually being social. I promise you. I tried that, but when I entered, they had a Kekistan flag up and were playing Nazi D&D. You'll have to find another shop and leave a bad review on Yelp for that place, okay? Bavash, I feel like I'm annoying as fuck. There is no type of person more annoying than those who worry about being annoying. I would rather deal with a person who's annoying but doesn't know it than a person who is annoying and is anxious about it. Lots of people are annoying. Tons of people are annoying all the time. I'm a really fucking annoying person. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to be like quirky or cute. Ask Hyena. Hyena confirmed. I'm a really fucking obnoxious person, right? Like, I'm constantly like jiggling your fucking boobies and loud. I just shout randomly. I'm like annoying. Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, holy fuck. Like, look, Hyena confirms, like right there. Like, I'm actually like really fucking annoying. It's true. I'm not. This isn't posture. This isn't like when the Chad jawline like guy puts on the big box frame glasses and he's like, I'm actually something of a nerd myself. I played Call of Duty when I was in college. It's not like that. I'm actually a fairly obnoxious person, and it doesn't stop me from like meeting people, because there are different ways to be annoying. What many people call annoying is actually inconsiderate, and that is a bad thing to be. Annoying could mean maybe sometimes you're like a little obnoxious or a little too loud, or maybe you like press a little hard in a topic when you shouldn't, or you're a little you maybe talk a little bit too much about like this interest of yours or something. But being annoying is just a part of living. Some people are always going to find some people annoying. Annoying character traits can be sometimes endearing. I know Hyena sometimes appreciates me being annoying. This is all totally possible, totally doable, all good, all fine, It's all good. But inconsiderate behavior usually overlaps with annoying behavior, and the inconsiderate behavior is bad. So like Hyena just put out a really good example, right? You know what's really, really good and nice? This is really fun. When you listen to a person rant about an interest of theirs in a really passionate way, I find that very endearing, okay? If a person, like, even if it's something I don't give a shit about, even if it's fucking sports, I don't care about sports, but then they'll I love you too, Hyena. But then they'll play like sports with, and they'll talk like, yeah, man. So like I was watching the game last night, and holy shit, fucking NBA player like number 72, the way he like flipped around, and it's really incredible because last season it wasn't just on his B or C game, he was on his D game, Last season, like this guy was performing, like we could barely make it from one end of the court to the other without like tripping on his shoelaces. But now he was running, he was swerving. His improvement is incredible, and I think he might get picked up or moved sometime next because now his team's a little bit too strong. Like, it's this like thing, and I don't give a fuck about sports. I genuinely hate sports. I don't give a fuck. But listening to a person who's passionate talk about something they're interested in is nice. It's nice. It's nice to be around passionate people. It makes life feel more lively, Especially if those interests are different than mine, because it's like, oh, cool, what an interesting world I live in. There are people who are like who like live completely different lives than me. Like my whole life is YouTube, Twitch, streaming, politics, art, video editing, and video games. That's my whole life can fit within that box easily. Like, I mean, I do things elsewise than that. I like work out too and stuff, but like for the most part, those are my interests. That's what I am. But when I talk about my shit to other people, I can make it interesting, in part because I'm passionate about it, and in part because I'm a good speaker. But I know they find it endearing, and I find it endearing when they do it too. That's fine, even if they're a bit annoying. It's okay, it's cool. It's inconsiderate behavior that's the issue, and that's what you should be on the lookout for. Let me give you an example. Annoying behavior can be messaging a lot. For example, like maybe you like triple or quadruple message sometimes, you're overly eager. That can be annoying, but like, okay, whatever. Inconsiderate behavior is doing that and then performatively apologizing and beating yourself up over it so severely that you compel the person who you annoyingly over-messaged to apologize to you and say, hey, it's okay, I'm still your friend. That is inconsiderate. Overeager messaging, that's annoying. Overeager messaging and then making it even more their problem by putting them in a position where they feel guilty and have to compensate for you, that's much worse. Actually, I mean, most bad behavior stems from insecurity. Not all of it, mind you, but a lot of it. I mean, hell, even the lynchings that were done back in the KKK days, a lot of it was done out of like a pathological fear of the virile sexuality of the Negro. So when they lynched them, you know, before they died, they would cut their junk off because that's the junk that they would use to please white women better than the white man ever could in their minds. It's insecurity. That's what it's based on. And following through that long lineage, I mean, hundreds and hundreds, thousands of years back, you'll find that really most bad behavior does come from insecurity. I can tell you how many friends I've had. It's the insecurity that really bothers me. I don't have much respect for it. I have problems with myself that I want to work on, but I have a very strong, resolute feeling in my own validity as a person, you know? Even if I really fuck up, I never think like I'm a shit person. I think like, yeah, I've done really poorly here, but it just means there's more room to improve on. It just means there's more room to like rise up from that point. I always think that. I never think like, fuck, this is it. Like I'm a loser. I'm a fucking failure. And I've had like faily elements to my life, you know. I did pretty badly in community college and high school. I didn't have a lot of friends and my grades were pretty terrible, and for a while I felt like I was going to be a fail son, you know. I wasn't going to be able to accomplish or achieve much. I think life was just not looking phenomenal for a while. But even through that process, I still had a unrelenting, unwavering faith in my own validity as a person. And as Hyena so aptly points out, usually that insecurity, that base fear, it does stem from trauma or abuse. And I'm not qualified to talk on that because I had very loving, very loving and caring parents. Yeah, people believed in me. Yeah. It really shows you how much having good parents matters. I really do have phenomenal parents. I talked to my mom for 20 minutes on the phone yesterday. It's always wonderful talking to her. My dad's awkward on the phone. That's his fucking problem, not mine. But I just talk with her. I fucking meme and cream. I treat her like a friend, you know. I treat her like a friend who's unaware, who doesn't know about a third of the words in my lexicon, either because they're highly political or very meme internet culture, you know. But I talk, and she's so nice. And my family is so wonderful. My dad is works in Hollywood, and he's, I think, pretty well respected in his work. And my mom does administrative work. And my younger brother, who I had a bad relationship with for a long time, my younger brother now works as a chef, or a cook proper, not a chef. He's only like 20 or 21. But he's really, really good. He worked at like a 4-star hotel restaurant. I remember we went there the last time I went down to Los Angeles. We went there and he wasn't working that night, and he was really, really respected by the rest of the cooks there. Even though he's not mini Vosh. He's taller than me. He's 6'3". And anyway, we went there and we had food. It's a high class Beverly Hills hotel restaurant. So this is like he looks nothing like me, by the way. But it was a good restaurant, and we like had our food and stuff, and it was of course extraordinarily good. You know, I got like steak and anyway, as a thank you for my brother's work, the kitchen brought out a cutting board filled with steak and like really high quality food. Like it wasn't a menu item. They just they laid it all out on that cutting board, and it was because they respected my brother, and my brother told them that I was coming into town, and they wanted to, you know, sort of like, hey, you know, happy to see you all here, and it was maybe the best steak I've ever had. It was just extraordinarily good. It was like $100 of meat. Where does my family politically align? Progressive liberal, not leftist, but they're pretty progressive liberal. It was really, really fucking good. God, that was such good meat, Hyena. Did I use ketchup? No, God. Jesus. I don't put ketchup on bad steak. I wouldn't put. Actually, if it's like bottom tier steak, if it's literally like trash steak, and like you just like, oh fuck it, like, oh this fast food place is selling like a steak, sure, let's try it. Yeah, it's basically just a burger. At that point, yeah, sure, pepper, salt, maybe I'll dip in a bit of ketchup just for that like tang. But real steak, no. Yeah. Oh yeah, I absolutely felt like a fucking porky during that meal. 100%. It was a good ass meal though. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at here, I had a really, really good family. Um, I had a really good family, and because of that, I never lacked for self-esteem because my parents were always really supportive. My dad was kind of a dick at times, but I think he had like a really stressful job for a couple of years. It kind of fucked with his mood, but now he feels a lot better. Now he's just super kind and nice and stuff, um, which is good. And for that, like, I just didn't have much of an issue. It's really unfortunate and demoralizing because I don't know how much of people's insecurity is exclusively attributable to trauma or other forms of like mental illness that can't really be dealt with like in a pep talk, you know? And I don't really relate to insecurity that much. I'll say this though. If you want friends, all you need to do, it's like every other skill in the world. Guys, I'm going to ask chat and I want actual answers. What is the first step to learning how to play the guitar? A lot of you answered slightly different but fundamentally similar things. The first step is to pick one up. I guess buying it would be before that. An interest would be before that, but a lot of you already want friends, so the interest step has already been done. You could say going into the guitar store or buying the guitar or picking it up, but they all fundamentally mean the same thing. The first step to learning how to play the guitar has nothing to do with playing the guitar and everything to do with putting yourself in proximity with a guitar. And it's the exact same way with making friends. It is the exact same way. If you want friends, if you want to meet people, just find a game shop. Find a bookstore. Find a place where there are, maybe not a bookstore these days, but there are things to do in most areas. If you live in a really small Midwestern town, maybe you'll have a little bit more trouble, but I'm willing to bet that even in small, shitty Midwestern towns, as long as the population is in the 5 digits or higher, Godspeed if it's not, I'd be willing to bet somewhere there is like a coven of cool kids. Somewhere there. I'm willing to bet that. I can't show it to you, but it maybe, you know? It's probably there. I live in a town with 700 people. I can't help you with that one. I'm really sorry. What if I don't care about having friends? Oh, then that's fine. Then I mean, if that's your desire. In my experience, most people who don't care about having friends are only doing it because they're afraid of being hurt, and they actually secretly do want friends. Even if you live in a really small community, friends can still be made. You'd be surprised. Anyway, the first step is to pick up the guitar, or to just go to a place where there are people. And you don't do it. You never pick up the guitar with the expectation that you're going to belt out a song the first time you play it. Usually you just pluck experimentally at strings and chords and fuck around with the finger thing, and you probably like your fingernails are too long and you like hurt yourself plucking the string in the wrong way. That's a part of the process. It's an essential first step, and it's the same way with making friends. You just have to put yourself in proximity to them, grow comfortable. And when you're comfortable being around human beings, I mean, maybe you worry for your own character. Maybe you think you're too annoying to such and such and such to attract friends. There are some really fucking obnoxious people who have friends. Like me. it's probably not as hard as you're making it. I can only deal in statistics here, but statistically, the likelihood of you just being insecure and more worried than you deserve to be is likelier than the likelihood of you actually being like unworthy of having a friend and incapable of finding one. You know? Usually the first step is dealing with the self-deception, insecurity, depression, anxiety, and all the other things that teach you to lie to yourself. Usually those get in the way. And they're obstacles. They're real in the sense that they affect your life, but they're very much not real in the sense that they're not really based on reality. Usually, I mean, maybe if you like compulsively projectile vomit at people, I think that'd be a reasonable thing to be anxious about. But for the most part, I think a lot of you guys are more capable of having friends than you give yourself credit for. And if there are problems in your character or personality, those things become more evident and thus easier to deal with when you have friends. And if you fuck up a few friendships, that's fine. I mean, so? Haven't people fucked up friendships with you? There are so many people out there who the only standard to which they hold themselves is the standard of success. But success is a statistical improbability. Most friends are going to leave you, or you're going to leave them. Life is hard and complicated. People grow apart from one another. That's the norm. Finding long-standing, trusting, mutual friendships is... well, it's difficult. So don't hold yourself to that standard. Hold yourself to the standard that other people live through most of the time. Friends are sometimes temporal and difficult to find time to spend with, and sometimes they're a little annoying. But it is only through putting yourself through that, meeting new people, that you can learn how to become the kind of person and find enough people that you're likely to meet that one fucking dude who's going to be a good friend, a really good friend. Anyway, I'm not trying to get like all doomery or anything. Wait, hold on. Vosh, stop. This is getting old. The people who are insecure or otherwise unwilling to meet new people, this is not helping them. Undoing tech, that was a very stupid thing of you to say. And it's the same thing that incels do in their own communities. They fail to listen to any advice because they have so insulated themselves against the tropes of good advice. They just think, oh, this doesn't do it. This doesn't do it. No, 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 no. Maybe it doesn't do it for you, and that's fine. I mean, if you don't care, that's fine. But every time, the people always do this. The depressives and the incels and the lonely people, fuck off. You have no idea how hard the shit I'm going through is. It's true, maybe I don't. Your advice is worthless. Just fuck off, you fucking normie. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know. A lot of people just don't want to make friends, or they don't want to try to make friends because they've just shut themselves in. They're like, oh, it's never going to happen. I'm positive it will never happen. And for that reason, they become like immune to any efforts to reach out to them, and so on and so forth. How do you get to this level of having problems without the... Oh, okay, wait. Someone asked. Oh, honest question. Do internet friends count? I play in a guild in WoW. I talk to these people every day. I think there's a specific benefit to having IRL friends, and I think relationships in particular are only really real in person because there's such a huge difference between IRL and not IRL friends. But I would never tell you that online friendships don't matter. Those matter a lot. Especially in this day and age, like that's a really that means a lot, you know? Not all of us have much time, and usually friendship is built through shared interest, but many of us, our interests are fucking playing video games. So what are we to do but make friends through those interests? Yeah, I do know the difference between dating someone online and IRL. Yeah, online relationships are not like creator fees. I promise I have seen those links. Online friendships are really valid and valuable and so on and so forth. You can make friends with people online. 100%. I will, people. I will. You can make friends with people online. It's just the relationship thing. I just know so many fucking people who had online relationships and then like they tried it out in person and things were completely fucking different. This exact same thing happened to me. I had online relationships in high school. I had them in college. I know it. I'm in on the ground, okay? I'm down there. I'm in the trenches. There's a big difference. I now live with my partner. I've lived with her for like more than 2 years. Hyena. And holy shit, the difference between living with someone and not living with someone, holy God, Jesus fuck. I won't lie to you guys, I miss living on my own every single day. But there are also times when I'm with her and I think like I could never go back to living alone. It's a yin and yang, honestly. It's not because of her, it's just the value of being alone versus the value of being with someone you care about 24/7. People are hard, yeah. There really is no like end state, you know? There is no yeah, dumb smoke. Sometimes friendships just don't pan out. That's what I mean. There's no end state. There's no like I've done it. I've achieved perfect friendships. There's no one perfect friend. You're never going to be perfectly satisfied with one person. There's those things just don't it just doesn't work that way. It's like, how do I want to frame this in video game terms. How do I do that? Okay. All right, listen. The idealized version of friendship can sometimes be like an RPG where you get really strong and then you stay that strong and you're very strong. And once you reach that point, it's stable. And while there may be greater conflicts down the road, you can rely on the existence of that strength. But in reality, friendships are a lot like Don't Starve or Darkwood. There's a ton of resources you need to balance at all times. It's difficult to do so, and it's in the nature of the game that sometimes things are going to fuck up and you're going to run out of something. You're going to find yourself at a difficult point in time, a crux, a juxtaposition where you aren't going to be able to do everything you want to do because there's finite time, there's finite resources, there's finite energy. And it's going to be hard, and it's never going to stop being hard. And there's never not going to be a risk of things falling apart. But it's all okay, because playing the game is still more fun than not. And even when things fuck up, pulling yourself back up from that position is at many points in time more fun and more rewarding than anything you would get from stability. I can't tell you how much satisfaction there is in finding a new friend, like a real friend. Do you think relationships end when you no longer serve some kind of purpose to someone? I catch myself thinking this way. I personally believe that all relationships are transactional. That's my personal belief. But I don't mean that in a bad way. You provide something and they provide something. Maybe you provide different amounts of things or different levels of it, but that reciprocity is very important. It's just, it's necessary. You need that. I've always believed that. That reciprocity, that transactional nature. But I don't think that reduces it to anything. I love Hyena, I do, but I don't love her like unconditionally. That's stupid. Fuck that. What? So if she changed people and became a wholly different person with smaller milkies? No, fuck that. I love her for who she is, and who she is can be broken down into admittedly not discrete and infinitely continuous series of character traits. But I love those character traits, you know? And likewise with me. Every person is a collection of continuous traits, and if those traits break off enough, like you are eventually dealing with functionally a different person. And no love is unconditional. Maybe. I mean, maybe some esoteric, like some like monks love the world kind of thing, but yeah, like if I went Nazi, I wouldn't want Hyena to continue being my partner. Aren't you slightly sociopathic? Maybe avoid talking about these things that require empathy. I think that's a very reductive take, Advanced Lamb. I don't think anything that I just said was anything sociopathic. I'm not sociopathic, I'm autistic. And I have empathy for others. I don't see... Yeah, I think everything that I just said is pretty in line with how people tend to work. Whatever the case may be, what I'm saying is that we're meandering so far. Just friendships are really, really difficult, but generally speaking, we're better off with them. If you want to get a relationship, you need to put yourself around people. And that can be really difficult and scary, but it's necessary because the first step is to pick up the guitar. You have to put yourself around other people. And if you're talking to people and you feel as though your personality is getting in the way of your conversations with them, there are ways to deal with that. Insecurity, even if it's caused by trauma, can be worked with. It's not easy, but this is the mind you're living with. You accept it and work with it. That's all you can do, you know? Sorry, Vosh, I just wanted a response. For my own problem, I just don't value myself. I function, I have friends, I have a serious partner and get psychological help, and I was found to have repressed childhood trauma I wanted to deal with. I just don't really feel self-satisfaction or pride. I don't have an urge of depression or sadness to a large extent, but I don't feel for long. For a time, I thought I was a psychopath or sociopath. I'm just emotionally connected to the point I'm not sure. I care for people more than my own existence, but I'm moving forward, at least I hope I am. Well, Neocom, I mean, what you're describing right now is definitely, I'm not trying to invalidate you or nothing, at least tangentially related to mental illness, and I'm not really qualified to talk on that. I can say this, though. Life is about building projects and working towards them. Achieving those projects is almost meaningless. It's the satisfaction from accomplishing something is accomplishing things. No, the real goal of life is moving forward. It's being better today than you were the last day. I work to do that in many ways in my life. I always try. I always have projects, more projects than I can even deal with, really. I have ambitions. And I know many of those ambitions are never going to be achieved. I want to get better at art. I've always wanted to design my own video game. There are tons of people who I need to respond to. There are people I need to talk to, things I need to deal with. I have goals for my channel, streaming, and blah, 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 blah. Many of these things aren't going to happen, but it's the process of moving towards those things that I achieve satisfaction from. The knowledge that I'm working towards them. Achieving something is nice, but temporal. Anon, you're saying some dumbass shit right now. You care about your friends because they've done something for you, or because they have characteristics you appreciate. There's nothing capitalistic about saying that relationships are transactional. This stems from people believing you realize markets and transactions are literally as old as human beings. There are non-human species that have transactional social processes. What is this? Capitalism. That's when, no, come on. You appreciate and love your friends because at some point they've done something to endear themselves to you, because you appreciate some of their characteristics. There's something from them that you like and want. Otherwise, why would you be friends with them? Optimus, do you really think that what I've said can be boiled down to just go outside and you'll make friends? This is one of the reasons that I don't like talking about this stuff to chat. There are a lot of people who are really sad, and those sad people are like really incapable of processing anything that sounds like advice because they presume that I'm being like presumptive. You know what I mean? Yeah, can we avoid the brain worms in chat today? No, Advanced Lamb, that's the shittiest attitude to take. Yes, the people who are hurt the most, the ones who need the most help, aren't going to be helped by you. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? For one, that's not necessarily true, but I'm not going to be egotistical about it. But also, would you go to somebody who's like doing a counseling session or like psychotherapy and be like, hey, just so you know, the people who really need the help most aren't getting it right now. Would you go to a triage where a medic is like fucking patching people up after a car accident and go like, hey, just so you know, there are people who died in that car accident. You can't do anything. Like what the fuck is that? What was the point? It's stupid. Some people are so boiled in their own fucking loneliness and myopic misanthropy. They can't imagine the possibility of anything helping anybody, so they just get mad when anyone tries. They get super fucking reductive and reactive. Hey, this is one of those character traits that can make you unlikable to other people. Which is, you know, unfortunate that it sort of evokes here, but that is a problem. This is a very unlikable character trait, that is, talking to people in that way. Yeah, it's mostly a mindset. It's, by the way, it's exactly the same thing that you'll see from incel forums. 100%. Is there any form of productive misanthropy? If misanthropy motivates you to go out and bomb an ice station, then that would be bad and not productive, because political violence is very bad and immoral. Don't ever do that, folks. Never, ever, ever bomb an ice station. Don't. It's not good. Do you think that there's an age and after it friendships become less grounded? Only if you let them. Only if you let things be that way, you know? If you let your friendships, you don't want your friendships to be attached to a specific stage in your life. You know what I mean? Like if your friendships are like, all of them are exclusively tied around like playing League of Legends, and you're in college and soon you're going to graduate, you're not going to have as much time for League of Legends when you get out of college. And that transition, and then the subsequent drifting away from all of your friends, the losing people you care about, the waking up one day and realizing you haven't had a message sent or received on Skype or Discord in a week, that feeling that all the people you used to wake up every morning and share your life story with are no longer interested in hearing about you because they're still doing the things they love and you no longer have time for it because you have to meet other obligations. You're all sad in chat right now, but that's a problem you make for yourself. Plan your friendships the same way you would plan an IRA fund. Plan it the same way you would invest. Think, where am I going to be in a year? Where am I going to be in 2 years? Where am I going to be in 10? I want to have friends that will last me. Not just friends that are based around, oh, we league together and we have good memes. I'm not saying that makes it bad friendship, okay? I'm not saying that's bad. It's good. Memeing on League is good. Or well, League of Legends is bad. Stop playing League. But the friendships are good. But don't let that consume yourself entirely. Don't sit there forever. Don't let that be the only thing you achieve social parity through, because if you do, there's going to be a shift in your life at some point, and that's going to throw everything to the winds. Even if you are satisfied with the friends that you've got right now, think, what would happen if I lost this? I think this now because I made this mistake. Are we ready for the true drama? Are you ready? Okay, Alakon, just because you personally don't agree with what I'm saying, or disagree, or don't like it, or whatever, does not mean that I need to, change what I'm saying. I'm giving advice, or I'm talking about an issue, I'm giving my thoughts on it. That's all I'm doing. It'll work for some, and not work for others. Some people seem to like it. Some people don't. But the attitude, this isn't working for me, therefore there's something wrong with what you're saying. That's a problem. Nobody would do this if I was saying anything else. If I was giving sex advice or something... Alright, hold on. We're just going to ban the negative Nancys for today. Just a 24-hour. I'm sorry you guys aren't feeling good today. I love you guys, okay? Don't worry. Shh. I love you guys. It's okay. Shh, shh, shh. You're next, Elikon. Just chill out. Don't worry. Planning for the future can be really debilitating for people who have anxiety. I don't think it's particularly helpful to tell people they should plan for their friendships in the future when you said that not every friendship will work out. Make it work for the time you have, then if you drift, find people you share interests with again. I disagree, Flavier. Just because people with anxiety have difficulty like planning for the future because it makes them anxious does not mean that like there isn't value in doing so. That would be like saying that like it's bad advice to tell people with depression that they should probably like go and fucking shower and like go show up to class and go to work because like they have trouble doing it. Like I don't think that's a valid counter argument. Anyway, I should spend less time like arguing with the people who disagree, but for the most part, like chat, don't worry. Here's my big meme. This is why I believe in planning friendships for the future, okay? Big, big, big. Okay? This is a super meme, all right? This is a serious meme. Okay? For real. I had a friend group. I'm not even looking at chat. This is my fucking story now. I had a friend group. Do I look sweaty? It's so hot in here. I had a friend group. Through late college, through late high school and early college. I knew these people for years. It was online. One of the people in that friend group I had known for a really long time. They were an IRL friend of mine. Hold on. They were an IRL friend of mine. And he was my closest friend. He was the person who I like learned art from, you know? He was who got me into art. I really, really cared about him. I had a crush on him too, but nothing ever came from that. Anyway, I was friends with him in high school and through early college, and it was really, really strong friendship. Like really strong. Like we would talk every single day online. We would play League together back in like season 2, season 3. We would talk. We did archery together. We took archery classes. We would fucking work out. He was better at archery. I was better at fucking yoking, fucking playing weights, and it was really good. And anyway, eventually he moved. He had to move to the East Coast. He had a girlfriend there who he knew in person previously, and there were art opportunities for him there, so he moved. And I didn't really have many other friends. I didn't really have many other friends in the area. I didn't really need them. Like, we spent all of our time together. He moved away. And that didn't end the friendship. We still talked every single day online. And we built an online friend group. Big online friend group. Like maybe a dozen or so people. And we all played together. And I thought that he and I were like the center of that friend group. Every friend group has a center or a group of people who are the center. There's usually people who are more tangential. And that's not always a bad thing. Maybe they just have best friends elsewhere. That's totally fine. I thought we were the glue. You know, he and I. And what it took me way too long to realize was he was the glue. Singly. Not me. Nobody else cared about me. But I didn't realize that because I cared about him so much. And he was a good friend to me, too. We talked all the time. I visited him a few times, and we'd play all the time online, and I'd talk with him and such. But over the years... and it took a while, you know. I did feel distance growing from him. It made me insecure. This is the only time in my life I've ever had a truly like insecure, like desperation sort of mind frame. It made me feel really bad because he'd been my best friend for ages. And his life was going all over the place. He moved to the East Coast. He had art jobs. He had like a girlfriend, his own house. He had like things going on. I was doing the same thing. The exact same thing that I had when he was here. Playing League, doing bad in school, occasionally working part-time jobs. That's it. Same damn thing. His life moved, and my life stayed the same. So I needed him more than ever, because my life staying the same meant him keeping the same level of relevance in my life. One day, we started to plan for a big old house party, the whole friend group online, for all of us to meet in Delaware in a vacation home. We'd all pay, fly over, meet, drive over, good old time, right? And head over and party and do fun things. And we all went, almost everyone. A few people couldn't come. And it was a very bad experience for me, because not only was my friend, my close friend, not able to spend, I mean, his attention was divided 12 ways. Everyone wanted his attention. I was just another dude, you know? And that's what it felt like. I'm sure he cared more about me than some of the people there. And also, unrelatedly, there was a girl there who I was planning on fucking, but then she ended up not fucking me, and she said that I looked like that she hadn't told me before because she didn't want to hurt my feelings, but apparently my face looks like the face of somebody who raped her before, so she gets like super fucking triggered looking at me, but she didn't tell me that until after I got mad at her for ditching me and not fucking. So then I felt like an asshole for being mad at her because she hadn't let me know that in the past, and like, so like, just, I don't know why she wouldn't let me know the 6 months beforehand where we were flirting online. It seemed like something she could have let me know, but she didn't. So I felt so she only told me after I got mad at her because I felt like she was ducking me. Not only did she duck me, she had a threesome with 2 other friends of mine. So I was real mad about all that. Anyway. It's been long enough that all of this is funny to me now, but it's still like, oh boy. But anyway, yeah, I got omega cucked. And I had a bigger dick than every fucking dude involved in that threesome put together, okay? I know, I've seen the pictures. My fucking slab of meat, if you smelted those down and put them together into one dick, mine would still fucking come out. Anyway. Okay, so anyway. We had this thing, and we called it the Friend Lodge, because it was Friend Lodge. That's what it's always been called, Friend Lodge, the Friend Lodge. I would call it the Fuck Lodge sometimes, because I expected to, you know, but anyway, and I really embarrassed myself that whole time. I was insecure and I was clingy, and it came off in my behavior. It was very embarrassing. It was probably like my lowest point. And after I returned back home, I'm 25. After I returned back home, there were several weeks of like tepid, uncertain, insecure sort of friend interactions online, where it became increasingly clear that everyone online now was like really weirded out by me because of my behavior through that. So people stopped responding to me, and my friend, who's now being pulled 11 ways that away, and me this away, started to drift away too. And I got real mad at him, you know? Real mad at him. Super mad at him. And we had a big old argument. And I said a lot of very, very, very clingy things. And the next day, I woke up and I was blocked on everything, everything. My best friend of like 7 years, the only friend that I had, literally the only friend that I had, blocked on everything. I gave him money on Patreon for his art, blocked on Patreon. I couldn't even give him money. Skype, Discord, Facebook, Steam. The Blizzard game, the Blizzard friend thing, you know what I mean? The Blizzard friends list, that thing, email, text, literally the whole, everything. Yeah, Battle.net, yeah. Everything. I don't blame him for it now, in retrospect. It was probably the healthiest thing to do. But I had no friends now, like literally none. And this particular point in time was right around the time, oh, Hyena, don't fucking preempt me. This was right around the time that I was just getting to know Hyena. And it was around that time that my best friendship meter kind of switched. But let me tell you something, okay? I was lucky, because here's what happened afterwards. I became friends with Hyena, and because of undealt with neuroses, I went into a depressive spiral for a year and a half that in many ways ruined me, but in other ways helped me gain better insight as to my own character and personality. But through all that, I had Hyena, and she's my girlfriend now, and she's my best friend. And about a year and a half ago, I started talking with my old best friend again, the one who blocked me on everything. And we started talking. We had some real long conversations, real long. Talked things out, helped me understand a lot of the mistakes I made in that friendship too. And it was only through him that I was able to recognize a lot of the fuck-ups that I had in that first friendship. I thought I was the perfect friend. I had no idea, you know? I was still good, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't have known. And at first, the talking was very tepid. He was very nervous to talk to me, in part because he was afraid of me, because of how I had acted in the past. Also, he's very skinny, and I'm very large. But anyway, I played a game of Dungeons and Dragons with him last week. It was a lot of fun. I can talk with him whenever I want. I don't talk with any of the other people from the friend group, really, because they're cunts. Not really. Some of them are pretty good, but it's just too much baggage. Some of them are really nice though. But I have the people who I care about, and I can talk to him now. His girlfriend still hates me. My old friend, his girlfriend still despises me. In fact, when he started talking to me again, he actually did it in secret because he lives in and he lives with a lot of people, and a lot of them knew about everything that had happened, and he wanted to talk to me in secret because he didn't want to have to explain to them how after all of that he would still be talking to me. But now we talk freely. He might even be coming back to the West Coast sometime soon. Maybe I can invite him up to Seattle. That'd be nice, I think. The point, though, and this is what I really want to hammer home, and there's a reason why I'm talking about this. It's because I lucked out by meeting Hyena. If I hadn't done so, I might have killed myself after I got blocked by everything by my old friend. And I only met her through sheer chance. And that's important. Planning for emotional catastrophes is important. Don't let all of your fucking friend juice get put into one basket. Don't put yourself in a position where one bad day or one bad event can ruin you. There should always be friends outside of your friend group. I'm not saying you have to have 18 best friends scattered in like 13 different states or anything, so that like if the nukes fall here and here, you still have 6 of them left. I'm just saying that like there has to be a fallback, and not because you're treating people like, oh, you're my secondary, but because diversification is important. For the same reason that you would want your entertainment to come from more than just one video. Like you also like, maybe you also enjoy working out or like fucking going to the park or fucking playing with your cat or whatever. There always has to be some level of diversification in your life. Over investment in one area is always, always, always a bad idea, and literally everything in your life, always at all points in time. I'm polyamorous. I reject monogamy politically and personally. I don't like the idea of fucking throwing all your fruit in one basket under any circumstances. And I abhor it specifically in this case, because I know for a fact that it was only through luck and not, I know we're not poly, I'm poly. It was only through luck and not through any planning or foresight that I avoided having a much worse emotional catastrophe than I did in this specific circumstance. But yeah, anyway, that's it. That's the shame story. That was the shame zone that I entered for a period of time. Yeah, many friends is also better than one groups. I could read super chats on YouTube, but I'd rather save everything for like a big singular donation. This is getting uploaded, right? I guess I could upload my very personal thing. Yes, it all gets saved as a VOD. It all gets uploaded. How can only one person in a relationship be poly? Because I didn't agree to a poly relationship when I entered into it with Hyena. I agreed to a non-monogamous relationship. A poly relationship is one where there's a potential for multiple romantic partners. I could be comfortable with that under some circumstances. In my relationship with Hyena, though, she's the one romantic partner. I'm very fine with that. Hyena's very protective of me. She doesn't want you all thinking you can date me. Yeah. Okay, well, Hyena's poly too, then. We're not poly. We're both singularly poly, but collectively non-monogamous. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I don't fucking care. I don't have fucking time for multiple romantic relationships anyway. I do want a harem. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, we're not bi-poly. We're monopoly. That's what I'm talking about. How do you untangle yourself from a really long-term friend group then? Do you want to untangle yourself from one? I can't really answer that. That's specific to the friend group. Anyway, hopefully some of you got something out of it. That's an exhausting story to tell. Jesus. And I skip out on so many gory details. I don't want to embarrass myself too far. But yeah. Yeah, always helps to make new friends. Now I'm in a better position. For a while in Humboldt, before I moved, all of my IRL friends were kind of made through Hyena, which was bad. But now I don't have to worry about that because I have a public persona, so I could make friends much easier if I chose to. Thoughts on Big Mouth screwing up their pansexual definition? I honestly... They did screw it up, but I honestly don't fucking care. I'm sorry to hear that, Jigglypuff-eyed. I don't know about that, Alicon. Does it count as friendship if you're the only side that communicates with the other? I mean, it can, but like there should be some reciprocity in that. Do any of you ever feel like you're that friend who has to message other people to do things, but you never get messaged first? I felt like that for a while with my old friend because that was the case. I would have to message first. I wasn't just imagining it. He just never messages first. And now I'm the person who always has to be messaged first. Every time. And it's just because I'm busy and I just don't have much emotional energy to dedicate towards like keeping up with a friend. I have a lot more sympathy for people who don't message first now. But now I realize that I'm in this position. I realize that I don't not message first because I don't care. I don't message first just because I don't have the energy to. What happened to the VOD of you talking to some Irish guy? Oh, the Badman Massive discussion? I don't know. It's somewhere back there in the VODs. I never uploaded it because that was a shit show of a discussion. What's up with that ear? I have keloids on my ear. See? Think of them as non-malignant tumors. I hate them. I'll get them removed soon. I have the money to do so. Ew. They're just skin. They don't feel any different than regular skin. They're not boils. They don't have any liquid inside of them. But I do despise them. Piercing? Yeah, apparently it's a genetic thing, which is, would it be offensive for me to say they're gross? No, I think they're gross. Yeah, that's where I store my extra leftism. My brain is so large, it's grown beyond the skull cap. Yeah, it was from a piercing. I got my ears pierced on an impulse after work one day. It was a good place too. Very professional, very clean, no problems, no complaints. And I got nice ear piercings. And over like a year or 18 months or so, they got little bumps. And at first I thought like, oh, they're infected. Okay, I'll just do the saltwater thing. But then I took the earrings out eventually. I had to force them open with pliers, in fact, because the keloids were so like big at that point. And they've just grown. I've actually had them removed before. Believe it or not. I've had them chopped off fucking yoinked and stitched up and stuff, and they grew right back. They're tumors. They have to be removed through radiation. So you have to cut them off and then immediately blast them with radiation. Yeah, I've had them removed twice. And let me tell you, it hurt like a bitch both times. Whoo boy, does that hurt. Whoo boy. Oh man, the anesthesia they provide just does not cover. And each time it gets more painful because they grow back bigger. And this time they're bigger than ever before, so... I might actually get my earlobes removed. That's possible. I have earlobes like this. I could just have all of it removed and just have the ear connect directly, you know? But I always liked having earlobes. I feel like not having earlobes makes you look dumb. I like having the earlobes. Try eating vegan. Yeah, fuck off. Hyena, it's not just a dumb idea. Hyena is also suggesting that happens. Cosmetic surgery might be able to help. Well, I need to go to a dermatological surgeon and have them work in collaboration with a lab technician to blast my ears with radiation. Super chat. Yeah, a lot of people do refrain from messaging first because they want to feel wanted and on top. A lot of people think it's a conception, or sorry, not a conception, a concession when they message first. I don't think we should think like that. I think you should just talk to friends when you want to talk to a friend, and they should talk to you when they want to talk to you. Yeah, it's extremely faulty thinking. What do I think of Kyle Kalinske? I don't know. Sorry, Lone Cat. How does someone who's severely depressed to the point they can't get out of bed work on getting out of bed and dealing with everything when they have no energy? This is the last point that I'm going to go over because I feel like I've been talking for 18 hours and I'm very hungry, you know? And by the way, to everyone who's donated, I appreciate it tremendously. Your donos have gone through. The API is just fucking up right now, so I can't read them directly. And when tomorrow, or when I next stream, that will be fixed, almost certainly. And they'll all go through, and I'll have a big list of them to read, and I'll read them at the beginning of the stream. And then, so maybe you won't be there, but you can check, and so I respond to any questions. I'm sorry, just if it ain't working, it ain't working. Anyway, here's the last thing I'm going to say on this, okay? So this is on how to do shit when you're super depressed. Like, crazy depressed. All right? This is the fucking meme, okay? So watch. I'm going to draw two blue lines, okay? The blue lines right here. Actually, yeah, just right there. That blue line right there, that is the baseline level of well-being you need to have to be able to function. Okay? So for a normal person, let's do red for a normal person. For a normal person, their baseline level of well-being is going to be above that level of functionality, you know? And maybe like a dog dies. Actually, we probably want this layer on top. Maybe like a dog dies, or like, oh, a promotion at work or something, or, you know, like that. But for the most part, they're functional. But for some people, unfortunately, for some people, their baseline level of functionality, like if they have depression, is below that point. Now, even for these people, even for people who are here, sometimes they are going to have moments of executive functionality. That happens for everyone. If you have literally no points like this, then you are unwell beyond the point that I am capable of making recommendations for. But for the most part, you're down below here with very occasional like rises above. So here is my suggestion, all right? For if you're in this part, if you're in the pink, okay? My recommendation is that you do everything you can to max out those brief windows of time where you have executive functionality. If you ever wake up one morning and you think like, oh shit, I feel pretty okay. Oh, I feel okay. I can, or like, I have some energy today. You need to fucking work it. You need to push that. That is your, oh my God, it's hailing outside. There's hail outside. I see ice bouncing off my neighbor's roof. You need to fucking work with that space. You need to do everything you can. Get your fucking chores done. Do groceries. Clean your room. I mean, I know, please don't. Guys, I know Jordan Peterson is a meme and a shitty human being. Please don't let that make you avoid taking that piece of advice seriously. You should clean your room. That is good advice. That's not bad advice. That's good advice. Don't let him fuck that up for you, okay? So, you need to, like, I have talked about this before, but it's relevant. You need to make the most of these points in time. The absolute most that you... Yeah, I do have boxes around my room. Okay, listen, don't worry about it. You need to make the most of this time that you can. And the reason why you want to do that is because these are the periods of time not only when you're functional, but when you're capable of feeding the reward dopamine centers in your brain. When you're down here in the dirt, fucking in here in the shit zone, it's not really like that. Life is just about existing and surviving. But when you're up here, you can accomplish things and you can feel pride for that accomplishment. And that pride, that sense of achievement, is the fucking ballpark for getting out of depressive spaces. Make the most you can of these periods of executive functionality, and with time, and I promise you this will happen, with time, they will grow out longer and higher. These points are the points that make life worth living, and making the most of it can be what allows them to grow larger. I promise you. Now, don't have a big period of executive functionality like this and then think like, oh, it's over. My projected happiness, my depression is cured. Don't do that. Life is hard. Things are going to go down again, probably. That is how life is. I'm not denying that. But you're going to come back up again. You're going to be up here again. It's gonna happen again. And when that happens, maybe this period will be a little higher. Maybe it'll go out a little longer than last time. It's all possible. And it all stems from your ability to feed the reward centers of your brain. So that's all. If you're very, very depressed, that's all I suggest. During the moments where you're capable of functioning, you want to make the most of that time that you can. Because even though things might go south again, there is a very decent likelihood that you having made the most of that time will ensure that the next peak, the next success, will come sooner, will be better, and will last longer. I'm empirically wrong and my advice is going to cause harm. Dauntless, explain yourself. Because having engaged with psych majors, I think that I'm actually, and having had depression, I feel like this is authentic. I mean, this helped me. My depression was pretty severe for a pretty long period of time. But do you have any empirical data to suggest that what I'm saying is incorrect? Yeah, that's true. Every time I say anything, someone comes into chat. That's okay. We don't need to focus on the negativity, chat. we can focus on the positive. Oh, they've been talking shit all stream. Okay, that's fine. I don't need to pay attention then. Depression research is pretty clear that you cannot will your way out of it. When the fuck did I say this is willing your way out of it? You can't will your way into doing anything when you're here. Whoops. But when you're here, you do have more capacity to make decisions. Like, you're acting as though people literally can't make decisions. Nah, this is dumb as fuck. I'm actually sick and tired of this shit. Every single fucking time I try to talk about, like, life advice or, like, something or other or some shit like that, some dumb fuck comes into chat and for the big brain takes, actually, Vosh, there's no way for anyone to help anyone, and by giving advice, you're ignoring their lived situation. Really, the best thing to do is just lay down on the ground and rot until you die. Like, it's just fucking like, all right, okay, dude. For real, though, for any of my peeps out there with depression, like, guys, depression is the worst thing that ever happened to me in my entire life, okay? And some people have had it worse than me. Some people have had it better than me. The severity doesn't really change the underlying truth, which is that things can get better. Sometimes with the help of medication. That helped me a lot, by the way. And sometimes with the help of a professional. And sometimes, often, because of acts of will on your part. I'm not saying you can will your way out of depression, but you have control over your own behavior, sometimes more than others. And when you have the most control, when you are experiencing executive functionality, you can like do shit. Those are the points where things mean the most, where you can really make shit happen. And if you do it enough, they'll become more frequent, they'll become better. And while the depression may never, like, maybe, you know, every once in a while, like, you'll still have some, like, relapses or remission periods, or things will still be bad at times, depending on the given length of time. It's better than not doing that. Hell of a lot better. And nowadays, I feel pretty darn good. Long as I take lithium. Because I have bipolar depression, I have manic depression, not clinical depression. Two different types of depression. Who knew this all got so complicated? I understand Super ACP. I get it. I 100% understand. I mean, obviously there's nothing that I can do that you know, would supersede the nature of your situation prior to this point. I don't know, Marcus, actually. I was told, but I don't fucking remember. It is difficult, I understand. But hey, can't get happier when you're dead. Can only do that when you're alive. That's the miracle, you know? Only when our brains are functioning are we capable of experiencing happiness. So as long as we're alive, we might as well keep trying as hard as we can, right? No point in not trying. I want that shirt. We will have a link up for this shirt soon. Anyway, and you should be proud of continuing to try Super ACP. Most people couldn't make it through all of that. Anyway, can we fucking focus on me ending the stream? Much appreciated, comrades. I know today's been a bit of a weird stream. According to yeah, okay, wait, hold on really quickly. So according to Streamlabs, none of you are giving me my fucking money. But when I go to PayPal, I'm just confirming that everything went through because it's like really weird. I've never had this issue before. Thanks, Alvin Magnus. I try my best. If we go over to PayPal, then things look... Did somebody donate $96? Wait, did somebody see a dono on my screen? That was for $96? Thanks, Aliakai. Wait, Aliakai, does that mean that my heart is in the right place, but I'm materially incorrect? It was a tier 4 sub. Nah, it wasn't a tier 4 sub. It was a fucking $96 donation. I'm looking at it right now. PayPal took $3 of it, of course. So actually, it was $92.92. I saw a tier 4. I saw a tier 4 sub too. Huh. Well, I don't know who it is. I mean, I have the real name of the person available in front of me, along with their social security number, email, credit card details, address, physical appearance, and genital dimensions. But I don't know if they want me to say all of that. So I think I'll just wait until the next stream when all the info comes through, huh? Might as well do it consistent like, huh? The donos are popping up, yeah, but they aren't getting saved to any of the logs. Oh, 3 months of tier 4? 3 months of tier 4 would be 120, right? Or does it get a donation? I have no list. I'm sorry. I don't fucking listen. I'll see you soon, okay? All right. Oh yeah, and Alia Kai points out, like, 3 of tier 4 is 96. Oh shit, I didn't know that. I didn't fucking design this website. Okay, one last point. Hey folks, guys, holy shit. If you're depressorinoed, you need to consider speaking to a therapist or getting some kind of medicative help, okay? Listen, lithium helped me a lot. I'm not saying it's the be-all end-all, but sometimes it can really help, okay? Okay? That's all I'm saying. Listen, I love you folks. I love you all very much. Thank you for the talk. Feeling pretty good. I might actually stream tomorrow. Wait, not tomorrow. Of course I'm going to stream tomorrow. I might actually stream video games tonight. I know that not all of you can see them, but I've been playing Resident Evil 2, the remake, on streams at night, and it's been super fucking fun. Y'all should join. We mostly end up talking about politics during it anyway, so yeah. Yeah, let me host Pig Puncher. Hold on. Guys, Pig Puncher is a comrade. Wait. It says, unless you've got a time machine, that content is unavailable. Did Pig Puncher get banned? I get the time machine thing. Nah, there's no way, right? Well, he's on YouTube.
Streaming, but it'll be pretty cool.
Maybe he knew that the N-word would be going off. Hold on. Let me host. Let me see if this works. Okay, wait. So, Hyena. To host... Okay, I go to... Admin... Let's see. Admin... Settings... Host... Did I do it? Did I do it? Am I even still live? I am live. But did I do it? It says I'm hosting. Still live? I am. I did not do it. Okay. Maybe I have to host after ending the stream? Because for a second it said it's being hosted. Ah. Wait, am I still live? Wait, am I live or not? People are saying that Pig Puncher is being streamed, but some people are saying I'm being streamed. It can't be both. There's only one screen. Oh, I was gone for a second. Okay, then I get it now. Okay, I get it now what's happening. I host successfully, and then the auto scraper picks it up again. So I need to stop streaming and then host immediately afterwards. Nice. Okay, that makes sense to me. Nice. Nah.